Night 4 of week 4 of term 4 on the platforms of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club for you across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. And the usual ritual of Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. The One Mate Thursday, as we like to refer to it, the main course followed by dessert. And tonight we take you to the Rudskogen Motorsenter in Norway, one of the newest circuits on the server, of course. A little bit of Formula V open wheel excitement. Good evening, everybody. I'm Zach Coben. Daniel Correa-Sar is here alongside me. This is my last hit out on a Thursday night until the back end of October, early November, before I'm back with you again. Of course, it's the 19th of October 2023, unless you're in Queensland where it's 1911. We're going to get the short, sharp shots in very early off the top tonight. We should point out that I'll be missing week 5 and 6 due to work assignments on the other side of the Nullarbor, and also a little bit of R&R here on the East Coast upon return from Perth. So it's going to be interesting because as much as I love my Formula V, I'm looking forward to the next 2 weeks even more, and I'll be back with you November 9 for all the action for weeks 7, and then 8, 9 and 10 to take us through to the end of the season. That is the Rudskogen Motorsenter. That's what it looks like. Circuit that's a little over 3 kilometres in length. 78% humidity today, 23 the ambient temp, and we're looking at 22 degrees on track. That's a rare instance, Daniel Correa-Sar, where we've got a warmer ambient temperature than track temperature.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. That's going to be an interesting one. So if I just bring that up again real quick on the side. So that's 22, so it's about a degree at the moment. As that might change, the server kicks over. So we've got the grid here now, and we'll kick over to that. But look at that. The track's gone up to. Oh no, they've equalised now.
Right, there we go. And we're at 1:10 in the afternoon, local server time as well. October 19, 2023. 10 minutes past 1 is the time there, trackside. Not sure if it's my end or your end, Daniel, but I'm getting some very grainy pictures through on the Discord feed at the moment, so we'll persevere with that throughout the course of the night. There's the grid. John Merritt and Chris Noble, the front row, 2 of the 4 men in this championship. Sam Chapman and also Adam Lavis, also race winners in this series on the second row. Kevin Henderson and Wayne Coburn from 3. Reece Gosner and Nick Wood from 4. Tony Baker and Grant Gill from 5. From 6, it's Phil King and Jonathan Hoover. From 7, it's Philip Howe and Brendan Neal. And from 8, it's Pete Nutt. This is like one of a double header for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, once we're done here, we'll take you over to the Detroit Grand Prix of Belle Circuit in Detroit, Michigan, for round 4, and a sprint round at that for the Porsche Cup Series, the open split and the elite split lining up there on the concrete canyon. Cars getting into position. We'll have a start any tick of the clock. We're riding on board there with Chris Noble. Now, hang on. What's going on here, please?
That is a safety car.
You and I are both seeing the same thing, aren't we, Daniel?
Yep, that's a safety car on the track. I was wondering...
We're going to have a rolling start tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
and
but it'll be a full lap.
I'm not too sure as to why, and I'm not too sure who's to blame for it. Yes, we're going to have a rolling start in Formula V. Hark back to my days at QR and Lakeside. And we're riding on board with John Merritt off the top here as he pulls away from the grid. This is going to be very, very interesting as they will weave their way around and warm those tyres up and get ready to hit the gas and get going. The clock won't start until they come back around. So this is actually going to, if anything, this garbage will actually eke into our post-race show time, knowing that the Porsches are lining up and getting going at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So strap in and buckle up, folks, because the post-race show is going to be red hot and rapid fire based on the fact that we're going to lose a bit of time here in the starting procedure process. Yeah, for whatever reason, and I have no idea what the cause of it is, and I'm hoping it's not that my computer is on its way out. I'd hate nothing more than to have to go and replace that before going to Perth, let me tell you. But for whatever reason, I'm getting the grainiest and blackest and whites of pictures coming through on Discord tonight, whereas the feed that you're getting at home, because I'm watching along on Facebook, is absolutely perfect. So not terribly sure what that's all about. Good evening to those of you that are tuning in and commenting via social media. It's great to have you on board. Joe Baldwin putting his hand up and saying, it wasn't me this time. He wouldn't throw the person responsible under the bus, but he's highlighting that it wasn't him in this occasion. All right. Absolutely nothing I can do about the feed that's coming through on Discord at the moment. This might be one of those nights, Daniel, where the OB setup that I've got here in Tennant Street, Bellbird, isn't going to play ball, but we'll do our best. We'll persevere with what we've got. This should be very interesting because we know what Formula V racing's like, but what we're lacking in depth, we've got in quality in terms of the competitors here. What we are missing, though, is a lot of the characteristics you normally associate with Formula V racing, but we had that same issue last week and we were treated to some absolutely fantastic racing. So hopefully, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And what we get here at Rudskogen tonight will be top shelf, top draw activity. Set for a start here, Formula V Race 1, Thursday night motorsport. Let's go! Let's go to work. Good clean start. John Merritt's going to hold off Chris Noble to turn 1. Watch for the overtaking opportunities through the outside of turn 2. Merritt's done enough to cover that off for the moment. A couple of cars running a little bit wide there, a little bit how you're going, but everybody through okay. 15 starters, 15 come through the first corner. Run down the back straight for the first time. It's an open flowing sort of circuit for the first sector, but then it gets tight, twisty and tangly. And that's where the racecraft, that's where the driver skill is going to really come into this. In more ways than one. Whoa, there's trouble.
Kevin Henderson.
Round and round we go. Kevin Henderson. That's unlucky for Kev. He'll drop down the order. It's at the rear of the field. He'll drop behind Grant Gill and Tony Baker, I would imagine, unless he can get back going. No, he's dropped behind Grant, but he's still behind Tony, who's now off the circuit on his own accord. And Philip Howe's joined them. Philip Howe, that was that puff of smoke at the back of the shop there. Philip Howe drops down now to 14th place. And that's the other thing tonight. Because it's a circuit that is tight, but that probably isn't well suited to Formula V racing in the way some of the others are, like we've got Montreal in a couple of weeks, slipstreaming paradise, and of course we've got Phillip Island and Sandown thrown in there as well. And there is Phil King going round and round and round, and Grant Gill going out in sympathy. This is one of those circuits where low speed will wreak havoc with these cars. Kevin Henderson to pit lane. And we've got Jonathan Hooper there in 8th place, getting a little bit of assistance, a little bit of a tow there from Brendan Nealon. Lap 1 minute 40. So on those numbers, you're looking at 6 laps here for the open race. But those times should get a little bit faster, second, third time around. So it'll be very interesting to see whether we get 6 or 7 laps here. Gut instinct says 6.
So just looking at the initial lap, a couple of incidents. Nothing crazy, but there's a couple of people spinning out, and there was some collisions as well. But otherwise, it seems to be a pretty clean procession. The John Merritt still well on the lead of the race there by almost a second, but then the next 4 cars are right there in the fight. 5-second gap to P6, and then another close battle, which is the one you're watching, and it looks like Nick Wood's gone off slightly. He's just lost 2 positions there as we rejoin towards the back end of the circuit.
So already some movement in this order. And we're still watching Hooper and Nealon go at it. Now fighting for 6th place on the racetrack. So Kevin Henderson and Tony Baker have already been to pit lane. Reece Gosner still in pit lane after a minute. And now a 3-4-way fight forming here for the lower half of the top 10. Remembering, okay, Pete Knutson's up 6 spots. That's point number 1. That's the Orbit Australia car you saw in behind Nick Wood there. Down the inside goes Hooper. Down the inside goes Hooper. So because it's Formula V, there's no shortage, no lack of overtaking opportunities here. You will see these guys throw it down the inside. The challenge is those tight and twisty sections, because as we saw there earlier, if you're a little bit too friendly on the throttle, it's going to send you spinning. It's going to loop you around. So this is where the skill set of the driver comes into it. We talk about Formula V being the luck of the draw on so many occasions, especially when we're, dicing in packs of 7 and 8, especially around somewhere like Watkins Glen, like we've done in the past, or Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where we will be in a few weeks' time. But the reality of the matter is, on those occasions, you're benefiting from the slipstream and the draft of tow. If you don't have that, you're a passenger. If you get caught up in carnage, you make a rod for your own back for the rest of the night. Here, it's so much more onus, like Zandvoort, on driver skill set.
Yeah, it's a very nifty track.
It's a unique track.
It is. It's very, very nifty. You've got 14 turns in total and a very wicked middle sector. You can see a bunch of connected corners, some S's there, and a hairpin. And it seems like it's well suited for cars like this, as you were saying, but I don't know if we'll get the same hectic racing as we did at Zandvoort, just based on the gaps here, as Maddo looks to try and go up on the inside of Brendan Nealon here. I wonder if we'll be able to do it. The corner's not conducive to the cars on the inside, just because of the way it switches back. So unfortunately, Nealon will hold that position. Maddo will have to stick with 9th for now.
So around they go again. John Merritt has both Sam Chapman and Chris Noble breathing down his neck. There they are on your screen now. And they're probably the pick of the bunch tonight. They've got a good advantage over Adam Lavis and Lane Coburn. And there they are just behind. And they are duking it out for 4th place. So you've got the top 5, then Daylight. This top 5, Daniel, have put 9 seconds on the rest of the field. Extraordinary, the pace they've got, and again, it goes to show you that when you combine driver skill set with working together and staying out of trouble, just how quickly those gaps form. And we've noted that on several occasions already this season. We're not seeing the pack racing we've become associated with in the past with Formula V, but even then, these little positional battles have delivered in spades. That they might be lacking in the quantity, but certainly not in the quality stakes, as they make their way around one more time down the main straight across the start-finish line. Looking at the clock where we are, 6.5 minutes. So by my count, they'll squeeze one more in. So we'll actually get 7 laps here. So we'll do a little bit of overtime. That's point number 1. Chapman defending Noble at the moment, trying to go on the inside of Merritt. Merritt shuts the door. Let's stay with this, because I reckon this is where the fireworks are going to go off very, very shortly. Noble goes to the high side. Let's get the toe from the Merritt, but Chapman's there to cover that off. Chapman holding second at the moment, having displaced Noble earlier in the piece. The interesting thing for mine is going to be the invert top 10 race, because that'll bunch the field up and pack them up a little bit better and keep them on their toes. Because we're going to 7 laps, that generates a little bit of overtime. That also means we probably get 10 laps in the later race. That's point number 2. And point number 3, all of that overtime, and plus the rolling start formation laps, that is going to make for a very short, sharp and sweet post-race show for Formula V. Very short, sharp, sweet intermission tonight on the platforms of the GSRC. Remembering the Porsches from Detroit follow this broadcast. And we continue to watch John Merritt hold sway here and control the field, but not without some serious pressure looming from Sam Chapman. Chris Noble there in 3rd place, 1:36.625, fastest lap of the race thus far. Right, not long left here. They're going to come around onto the main straight. There'll be 2 laps to go, I would imagine. Yes, we're well and truly south of that 8-minute 20 marker that would have generated the last lap flag. So across the line we go, 2 to go. Chapman now makes a move. Chapman's done waiting. Chapman, with barely any real estate to work with down the inside, looks to go past Merritt, can't get it done. Merritt holds the run around the outside, and look at Noble trying to go around the outside the long way, and he can't get it done. But the first trigger was pulled by Sam Chapman, but Merritt was up to the fight. Merritt answered the challenge and then some. And look at Noble playing on his own out there. 3 wide down the back straight. Chapman got right across out wide to cover off Noble. And now Chapman fancies going around the outside of Merritt. That's not going to work for you. Not going to work. There's some one more to go. The shots are being fired. And if they hold one another up significantly, watch Lane Thoburn and Adam Lavis reel them in. They're 2.3 behind at the moment, but it won't take long if these three start squabbling to track them down. And we'll have a five-way fight at the front end of the field.
Yeah, this will actually go back to something that I was saying in yesterday's broadcast with Aiden, which was these cars are sort of similar to the Radicals in the sense that if you're in a pack and everyone's not fighting, then the draft benefit means that you can push away from the cars behind and get a sizable gap. But the minute you start fighting, then the cars behind get an advantage. And once they get into your draft, which is around about the 1 sec, just under the 1 second mark, then they start coming into the fight. So these guys better be smart. The only thing is, there's only 10 minutes left on the clock, and we're crossing the line now, so it'll be white flag for sure.
Surely. Can't see Barney. Where is he hiding? White flag in the air. Let's go one more time around. John Merritt leads them to turn one. Chapman, Noble trying to squeeze down the inside. Chapman's in there as well. Noble's found his way to the front. From third to first in bugger-all time. We ride up over Chapman. Merritt's there choosing a lane. Chapman's going with Merritt at the moment. Noble's about to be swamped. Noble has the inside for the back into the back straight here. Chapman wants to make it 3 wide. He'll get the run around the outside. Have a look at that. He might be trying to displace Merritt, but he can't. Merritt holds on for now. Noble's right there. Oh, contact. Chapman's giving Merritt a nudge. Through they go. Chapman loses out in that. He's dropped 2 car lengths back. Now Noble has to defend here. He's found his way to the front at long last. Timed the run perfectly. And now Merritt's the one on the back foot. Through we go. Last lap. Checkered flag this time by. Whoever wins this starts from 10th for the next race. Noble holding on. He's got more wins on the board than anyone so far this season in Formula V. Merritt trying all he can to find his way back to the front after leading for so long. He led every lap except this one so far. Now he's on the inside. Last corner. Have a look at Merritt down the inside. From the outside to the inside to the main straight to the checkered flag. The old experienced hand of Formula V finds his way to victory again. Noble second, Chapman third. Oh, that's why we turn up on a Thursday night.
That was an absolutely incredible last sector. They just passing each other. Right at the end, we'll see if we can get a replay here. So this is just earlier on in the lap. And Sam tried to go so wide to keep that speed. And yeah, just look at this. Just ragged edge right up to the back of Noble there. And John really did calculate this well, if you think about it, in the middle part of the lap now. And just look at this. All over the back of him there. Looks to try and get a shot. Decides not to go around the outside, though. Keeps it slow. Looks for the tighter apex. Actually, no, he dragged that wide there. Make me a liar. It's all good. And then Sam Chapman manages to bring that gap up again. So now they're a proper three-way fight. And all the while, Adam Lavis and Lane Thoburn. Oh, unfortunately, the last car crossed the grid, so I can't check that one. But yeah, that was an awesome finish.
I'll just catch my breath back, Daniel, and we'll fire up and go again, my friend.
That's all right. But yeah, that was an awesome finish to the end. Unfortunately, I went a little too far back. I was trying to watch the whole lap and couldn't quite fit it in. But wow, I thought that we wouldn't get the same level of racing that we would get at Zandvoort, but I was proven well wrong there.
Yeah, you and me both. Although that being said, Zandvoort, the fact that we got some quality there actually filled me with a little bit more hope here. Jamie Budd's standing by in race control. We'll get to him in just a moment. Let's get this one underway firstly. Phil King, Grant Gildershire, the front row. Brendan Neal and Jonathan Hoover, the second. Nick Wood, Lane Thoburn, the third. Adam Lavis and Sam Chapman, the fourth. Chris Noble and John Merritt, the fifth. We've got a rolling start, remember, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got a little bit of time to kill here. A little bit extra time to suck in the big ones, get the air back in the ones. Pete Matson and Tony Baker from 6. Kevin Henderson and Reece Geisner from 7. Philip Howard parked up for the night. So then there were 14. Jamie Budd, I'll bring you in at this point in time if I can, please, buddy. Nice to have you on board on a Thursday night. Doesn't get much better than that. I mean, we weren't sure when we saw some of these tracks at the start of the season on the calendar. Sam Chapman's actually done a good job, so well done. He can be well commended for that. We were a little bit uncertain as to what sort of a show we'd get, but when you get the best 3 in the business duking it out on the final lap like that, you can't be disappointed.
Oh, I don't know how it looked on the broadcast, but from where I was sitting, that top 3 battle was absolutely fantastic. Sam being an absolute machine in these cars, I think he's definitely picked some really, really good tracks this season, and we're definitely seeing it in the quality of racing.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. As I said, the tight and technical circuits like this is, particularly in the second and third sector, it lends itself more to not necessarily those slipstreaming duels and draft battles that we associate with, well, oval racing or even the likes of Watkins Glen or even Sandown. The onus is on the drivers here. The racecraft is 90% skill set of the driver, and when you get 3 of them as tightly packed, as tightly bunched, and as close in proximity in terms of their skill set as Noble, Merritt and Chapman, like the fireworks erupt. From race control standpoint, anything that we need to make note of after race 1, please, mate?
Not really. It was really nice and clean. It was probably one of the cleanest races we've had so far. GT4s last night was very, very well behaved, but that race was fantastic. It was just unfortunate that Hendo sort of lost his rears and everyone sort of got caught up behind it, but there was nothing wrong with it. It was just unfortunate for some people.
All right, mate. Who's your tip this time around, please?
Full reverse 10 on a track like this. I think it's anybody's game, to be fair. A lot of shifting in these cars at this track, which is quite odd. So,
whoa, yeah. Look at that! On the run down to turn 1. I'll come back to you, Jamie. Have a look at that! 5-1 on the run down to turn 1. Hold your breath. Will they get through cleanly? Surprisingly, pretty good. No. Tony Baker's gone around. So too Nick Wood. 2 of them bite the dust. Well, that was always brewing. I don't know who set up the rolling start. I don't think it'll get a return serve next week. Wow, extraordinary.
Whoa,
more carnage.
Geisner.
Reece Geisner's gone. Oh dear. Fireworks have been let off early here. Let's be perfectly honest. Let's be perfectly honest.
Oh,
no, there goes Gill. Gill's gone. Gilly's looped it. Oh, boy. And slowly but surely, the contenders are whistling here in Rudskogen, Norway. Now, it's interesting because that start was confusing for some, but it had all the right ingredients to be as chaotic as that. And the reason for that, Daniel, is as soon as the green flag flies, help the skeleton, help yourself go, the onus is on the driver to hit the gas and get going. There's only so long in which the front row, which of course in that case were Grant Gill and also, who was it, Phil King. There was only so long in which, and have a look at this, 2 wide on the run down to turn 1, there was only so long in which they would control the field for it. It wasn't like a real world situation where they would control the field until they hit the gas. Once that green flag waved, that was it. All bets were off, the gloves were off, and away we went. So it was brewing for a while, and to be fair, I'm not surprised that we've now got very little in the way of race contenders. After 1 lap, John Merritt has found his way back to the front. Sam Chapman's found his way back to second. The one that's struggling at the moment is, of course, Chris Noble, who's boxed it in 7th in this pack of cars here on your screen, struggling to find a way forward. There are always winners and losers in that situation. Clear winners on that occasion, John Merritt, Sam Chapman. Clear losers, Nick Wood, Pete Matson, and Grant Gill. Also, probably Brendan Nealon and Phil King can be added to that list as well.
Yeah, so five wide going up to that first turn. For there only to have been two people, really, in that incident is pretty impressive, to be honest. I think one of them did get flipped upside down, and one was turned around, so a rough one there for those that were involved. But in terms of the pack racing now, John Merritt's out and away. 1.6 seconds down the road. Sam Chapman will have a big job ahead of him to try and catch that up, considering he doesn't have a draft to pick up. He has to rely on John Merritt making a mistake. And that's something
if you're here for pack racing, come back at race 3.
Yeah.
Essentially. We have 3 bites of the cherry. Normally it's this one that goes up in smoke. Now, very quickly, going around the grounds, big night of cricket. Both here and abroad, the start of the Women's Big Bash League, and the Melbourne Stars playing the Sydney Sixers. 6.1 overs gone, Melbourne 1 for 54 there. And the match between India and Bangladesh, the 17th match of the Cricket World Cup, Bangladesh none for 28 in the 8th over at the moment. There have been a couple of boil overs this week at the Cricket World Cup. I don't think that'll be one of them tonight. I think India will get the job done. Now, a little bit of drama further back in the field. We've got Jonathan Hooper dropping a couple of spots. Phil King's gained a couple. We're watching him at the moment. Boxed in there with Adam Lavis behind him, Kevin Henderson and Chris Noble ahead of him. And they've dropped Jonathan Hooper off that train. Brendan Neal on as well. And Rhys Gosner has fought his way back to 9th place already. There are battles for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, the one you're watching on screen, 7th, 8th and 9th. Then also 11th, Grant Gill and Nick Wood duking it out. And Pete Matson's trying to haggle Tony Baker. But in the meantime, have a look at this. The race leader, John Merritt, 1:37.232, out to a 1.55 second advantage at the moment. Now, we got 7 laps in race 1. Normally, we add 3 laps to that, and that gets you your distance for race 2 and race 3, or races 2 and 3. I would hazard a guess that's good fishing on this occasion, because 10 by a minute and a half is 15, and 10 by 7 gets you to 16 minutes and 10. So we'll get to the white flag somewhere very late in that 15th minute. Into pit lane comes Tony Baker, the first unscheduled pit stop of the race. Oh, it's all happening on a Thursday night. Didn't enjoy that? Go and check your pulse. That race 1 finish is among the best we've seen this season. And we have seen a good couple of classics already in Formula V. It's always going to deliver. I had some mixed reports, actually. Phil Butler, same usual chaos. Yeah, exactly. I was getting some feedback earlier in the day from Dad, of all people, because I hijacked Dad's shed to record or broadcast these races while I'm home. And he said, I sometimes go to bed while you're still on air, and I can hear you from there. So I can only imagine how the neighbours feel, because you're closer to them than you are to me. So I apologise to the neighbours. I apologise to the rest of Tennant Street for the way in which Formula V have allowed me to wake up you and probably the dead as well early on a Thursday night with that grandstand finish in race 1. Probably not heading in the same direction in race 2. The field's somewhat fanning out a little bit here. But stand by for fireworks in race 3. I promise you that much. It'll be terrific. Now, there is Lane Thoburn in 10th place, trying to get back up in the right direction. Brendan Neal on the next target. Down the main straight we go. Battles are plenty there down the main straight at the Rudskogen Motorcenter. We're on lap 5 of what we assume or what we suspect will be a 10-lap race here. This is the consolation. We then get into the feature straight after. Thoburn makes light work of Brendan Neal on and moves up into 9th place. And Jamie Budd joined us from race control. Geez, a fair bit to pick apart in the opening laps there.
Oh yeah, I thought when the mayhem started, I'm like, I better get out of here so I can talk to people. So,
Exactly.
But yeah, as you saw through the messaging, it was echoed. They were through the corner, and all of a sudden, Tony looked like he got a contact, and Grant went nowhere. So, very strange.
Yeah, netcode is so often a problem in this caper, isn't it, mate? I mean, at the end of the day, race control can adjudicate net code, but if they can also determine there would have been contact irrespective of that code, you can also punish applicably.
Oh, 100%. When the net code kind of gets negated by the trajectory of the cars, 100% we don't go, oh, it was net code, don't worry about it. But yeah, in that situation, all three drivers were holding their lines. It was looking like it was going to be really good. And then, yeah, just absolute massive net code, and we all saw the outcome. So, very strange. It's unfortunate. It seems to be quite an issue the past couple of weeks. There seems to be a lot of net code through the servers on officials as well.
And that's one problem that iRacing will probably always have, one bug that they can't eradicate. But that it is frustrating because it leaves us with no battle for first, no battle for second, no battle for third, and this battle for fifth place, in fact, no battle for fourth even. This is the battle for fifth that you're watching at the moment. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Have a look at them. Lane Thoburn right there, up on the inside, trying to get by Jonathan Hooper. Rhys Gosner's just ahead of him. And then, of course, Phil King leading the train here as well. Kevin Henderson's managed to skip into the distance and pull clear. Right now we've got a four-way fight for the bottom half positions in the top 10 here. Gosner trying to get down on the inside. Gosner's still trying to get down on the inside. Tucks back in behind the beer can, you'd call it, of Philip King at this point. And he is holding this train up just nicely, actually. They are somewhat getting frustrated, boys, not being able to find their way by Philip at the moment. But the onus is on the drivers to do it and to do it safely. But again, that highlights just how difficult overtaking can be around here, even in a Formula V.
Oh, as they go!
That's a knock-on effect. The pack just got balked there, and it was a knock-on effect as a result of that. And unfortunately, the poor one compromised in all that was Lane Thoburn. Having just got back inside the top 10, he's now back in 11. Nick Wood gets his way by Brendan Nealon, moves up into 9. And Phil King still holds off Rhys Gosner and Jonathan Hooper at bay there. Positions 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, all in a pack as they come back round onto the main straight. We start lap 7. Sam Chapman faster up the race, 1.7 behind John Merritt. Not going to catch him on those numbers. 137.037 and 1.72 the margin. So I think it'll be Merritt v Chapman on the front row and Noble in third place. So we've got our top three back to where they started, just nowhere near as tightly marked.
And for everyone watching at home, your word of the day is concertina.
Yes.
That's what that was. The first car stops, and then each car has to adjust speed and turn, and so they all just rammed into each other. Luckily, it seems as though there was no damage. I did see a bit of a crumple on Lane Thoburn's car, but it seems as though that's popped back out, so most likely just a bit of a netcode issue. So luckily, no big damage.
And your second word for the day, in line with concertina, is cluster with 4 asterisks right after the R. Just putting it out there. Lap 7. 11 minutes gone. I love broadcasting on a Thursday night. You can get away with so much more than what you could at a racetrack. Could you imagine saying that over the speakers at Sydney Motorsport Park? They'd hang you. Now, down the inside, here we go, Lane Thornburn. Try and get back into the top 10. Trying to get... So we've got the Pulse boys battling with the Thorburn Noble stable at the back end of the town there. In the Alpha Racing team. And you've got a similar situation at the front of the field where John Merritt and Chris Noble were duking it out last time round. So it's interesting that the Pulse boys and the Alpha boys keep finding one another. Chris Noble, on that note, fastest of the race thus far, 137.030. John Merritt's lead is extended out to 2 seconds, and then Chapman's got 3.7 rather on Noble. Lavis having an impeded run, I think is the word I wanted to use there. An unimpeded run, a lonely run in 4th place. Kevin Henderson is fit. Phil King gets by Rhys Gosner. Have a look at that. Phil King gets by Rhys Gosner, moves into 6th place. Gosner is 7th. Then Wood and Hooper and Thoburn. Then Nealon making up the top 10. Grant Gillon, he's lonesome in 11th. Pete Matson in 12th. And Tony Baker has parked up for the night. So we've lost Tony Baker. We're down to 13 for the third and final race a little bit later on. Stay with us. Porsche racing still to come as well, boys. Detroit, Michigan. It's a sprint racing Thursday night.
So it was a decent run here from Gosner in the past lap, but unfortunately he went a little wide coming into the second turn, and that allowed Phil King to go back up on the inside, so he drops down to 7th on the grid. He has gained 7 positions, though, so it's still a profit in terms of positions gained for Rhys Gosner. And it looks like Nick Wood is also now in the fight as he closes up that gap. And it's really interesting to see just how much these cars move under braking. You'll see the nose just dip down into the tarmac as Nick Wood goes up on the inside and gains the position on Rhys Gosner. Tried to get Phil King as well. Didn't quite work, and that slowed him down going through the corner. So Gosner will go back up into P7.
Very nicely done. Cleanly done. But side by side they go round the final corner onto the main straight. The drag race continues. 2 to go. Thoburn 10th place. Going out in pursuit of Nick Wood. Going out in pursuit of Jonathan Hooper. Here we go. Will he get 2 for the price of 1, or will he settle for just Wood to turn 1? He won't get either of them at the moment. He's boxed in. Nowhere to go. Gosner was incredibly wide. That backed the pack up behind him. And all of a sudden you've got a 5-way fight for 6 with 2 to go. Hold on to your hats. Down the back straight we go. Thoburn in 10th. They've lost Newon. He's dropped out of the toe. Gosner. Is that a slowdown? Rhys Gosner. That's unfortunate. And then there were 4. King and Water side by side, and Hooper's there in 8th place. Then Thoburn in 9th. Gosner 10th. Newon now 11th. So the slowdown for Gosner has actually invited Newon back into the fight. No invert situation this time round. It is start where you finished. And they know that. So every single one of them will be going out in pursuit of that best possible result, that best case scenario, which is 6th. Absolutely. Well pointed out, Josh Zuno. Well played. The Dev Series going gangbusters on the platforms of the GSRC. Right, Jonathan Hooper. Back to the main straight. John Merritt's on the last lap. 1 to go. White flag in the air. We're already into overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Down the inside comes Hooper. Hooper down the inside, trying to get by Thoburn. Under brakes. Thoburn holds the outside. Gosner tried to go the inside, and then ran out of room, had nowhere to go. Hooper got across to cover it off. Opens the door up as they head down the back straight. Gosner aware to it and moves immediately to the inside, but he's hung himself out to dry because he's out of the tow, he's out of the train. Hooper picks up the draft and holds on to 9th for the moment. Wood holding on to 6th. King is 7th. Then Thoburn, Hooper, Gosner and Newon. It is a 6-way fight. And it looks like 6 different teams as well, boys, which is testament to the variety, the diversity of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Through they come. Last time. Need to get back to the front in a moment and acknowledge that John Merritt's going to ruin any chance we had of getting 5 different winners in the server tonight in the broadcast, with a second win in Formula B on a Thursday night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Checker flag is out. John Merritt's your winner. 2 from 2. The old experienced 10 does it again. Chapman's going to get second. 4.5 seconds down the road. Third will go to Noble. And I cannot wait to see those 3 duke it out over 16 minutes starting in a few moments' time for race 3. Oh, boy. Phil King and Nick Wood. They're still trying to make their way home down the main straight. Wood will hold 6th, King 7th. 8th will go to Lane Thoburn, who got by Hooper and Gosner, and Newon makes up the top 11. Adam Lavis was a lonely 4th. Kevin Henderson was a distant 5th. Just to fill in the gaps there for you. 12th to Clark Gill and 13th to Pete Matson. Okay, that one was a little bit more tame in comparison, Daniel Caressa, but you've got to have the tame ones to appreciate the good.
You do indeed. So John Merritt was able to just absolutely shoot to the front, won that race by 4.5 seconds to come across with the points there.
Dynamite.
Sam Chapman coming across P2 with a 7.4 second gap, and then there was Chris Noble, and there was 13.775 behind. So yes, those top 3 were not fighting each other at all. They were having a nice clean race. The real battle was from Nick Wood onwards. So that'd be P6, 7, 8, and 9, 10. And Brendan Nealon was on the tail end of that. But he ended up dropping just a slightly bit at the end. So he comes across in P11. Grant Gill in P12. Pete Matson in P13. Tony Baker in P14. And Philip Howe in P15.
Very nicely done. We remind you that compliment our Porsche racing tonight as dessert. We wouldn't be able to bring any of it to you without the support of the great people at Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and also Flash Graphics, our sponsors, our proud club sponsors and supporters and partners to bring you Season 15 on the platforms of the GSRC, Term 4 of 2023. And this is night 4 of week 4. We have been very, very busy this week on the platforms of the GSRC. The boys were with you Tuesday night and Wednesday night, as well as me and Adam Lavis and Liam Banks being here on Monday night. And now we finish the week on a Thursday night, as we so often do. We're getting busier by the week, it would seem. And we're looking forward to what race 3 might dish up in just a few moments' time. There's the aerial shot of the Rudskogen Motorsenter in Norway. Cars will be lining up onto the grid any tick of the clock here. And we will be ready to rock and roll once more. The service switch is over. Here we go. John Merritt from pole and Sam Chapman alongside. Chris Noble and Adam Lavis the second row. Kevin Henderson and Nick Wood the third. Phil King and Lane Coburn the fourth. John Reese Gosner the fifth. Sixth row will be where you find Brendan Nealon and Grant Gill. Pete Matson will round out the field. 5:15 in the afternoon. It's still daylight. Have a look at that. As they're approaching the end of the daylight saving window there in Norway. And I should also point out the start of, the end of fall or autumn as they call it, or we call it, and then of course the start of spring. Still daylight. Hello Queensland, nice to have you on board. You finished 1 o'clock back to 9, 10, 11 yet? I'm not sure. Here we go. Ready to rock and roll one more time around. And we'll do that behind the pace car in just a few moments. Can Merritt go 3 from 3 and complete the sweep? Can he grab the hat-trick? Or will Sam Chapman or Chris Noble have something to say about that? What can Adam Lavis and Kevin Henderson do? Can they latch on and go with him? Can Lane Coburn get through from 8th place on the grid? What about Reese Gosner? He's had some luck in Formula V in the past, but he's had none of it tonight. All these questions are soon to be answered. We can't wait.
So, with the Power 3 starting at the front, I wonder off the green whether or not Sam's going to try and attack off the gate and get the lead, or if he'll try and stick behind, because it seems as though you do get quite a benefit following in the Formula Vs early on in the race rather than leading. But also, track position tends to be key, so if you can get a position, you would, right? You're a driver, that's what you do. So it'll be interesting to see just how aggressive this start is. I would assume that John Merritt will most likely play the field a little bit. The rules do state that although the green flag can go, you are not allowed to overtake the leader of the race until you start, or you are not allowed to overtake, period, I should say, until you reach the start-finish line. And so I would expect that John Merritt will use that to full effect. The only issue, the con in that, is if you do so, then you are limiting the amount of speed that you can carry to the end of that main straight, because you are of course holding off on gunning it until that line, which means that if other people are prepared, they can jump you easily once you decide to go. So John is supposed to be in the front. Sam Chapman's sort of hurrying himself up.
Yep. Yeah. And there will be a penalty given to Chapo if he does jump the start here. If iRacing feel as though he's broken the gate and jumped it ahead of the pole sitter. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, Chapman impatiently waiting for Merritt to control the field and bring them around to the start-finish line with a green flag or wave, and this race will get underway. Yep, the rolling starts have been a little bit of a pain in the backside in terms of padding and filling, but they've they've made it worth the wait. There's no doubt about that. 10 laps ahead of us here. We get ready to rock and roll again.
Oh,
Formula
John.
V on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Race 3 of round 4, the 12th of 30 in the campaign. John Merritt doesn't muck around. He doesn't hold the field back. He hits the gas and gets going, and he takes Chapman with him. But Chapman's going to be mindful of Noble on his inside as they get down to turn 1. Can Noble have a look down the inside? No. Chapman gets across to cover it off. But Chapman will be mindful of Noble's presence there and the up and under opportunities out of 3. Here we go. Drag race down the back straight. We ride on board with Lane Thoburn. Great start from him up into 7th spot. We're down to 13. We've lost Philip Howe and Tony Baker throughout the course of the night thus far. Thoburn right there. The onus will be on him to get away by Kevin Henderson and Nick Wood early in the piece if he wants to get up there and play with his teammate. And the top 2 in Merritt and Chapman. The top 3 are trying to skip clear. Lavis isn't letting them just yet. He's trying to take the pack along with him. Through the hairpin we go. Back around.
Much cleaner start from everybody in that first lap. No incidents, nobody off track. A couple of positions swapped there as Gosner goes up 2. Jonathan Hooper also gained 1 there. Looks like Phil King has had a bit of an issue, dropping down 5 positions since the start of the race. As Chris Noble now looking to try and make an overtake on Sam Chapman towards turn 1.
Down the main straight. Noble up the outside. Knowing you'll have the inside for turn 2 if he can hold sway around the outside. Noble on Chapman and got it done. Greenlee. Now look at Lavis. Having a sniff. Fancying his chances to have a crack at Chapman and couldn't get it done. Merritt leads the field. Lap 2 at 10. Down the back straight at the Rudskogen Motorsenter. Here we go. Down the inside, Chapman back on Noble. Chapman back on Noble. Oh, that's nicely done. Noble wasn't able to keep Chapman at bay for too long. Out there wide was Kevin Henderson trying to follow Nick Wood through. Nick Wood actually having a great run up into 50s, best of the night thus far. And Lavis actually within sniffing distance of the top 3. That hasn't been the case thus far. He was the best of the rest in race 1. He was the best of the rest in race 2, but he was not within an earshot of the top 3 at the end of proceedings at the end of race 1. They just marginally, ever so gingerly and gently eked out that margin, increased the gap, and shook off the challenge of our mate from Monday Night Motorsport in car number 23. Nick Wood. Lane Thoburn gets by Reece Gosner. They've both got by Kevin Henderson, who's dropped back to 8. Here's Noble all over the back of Chapman. Back down the main straight we go. We're right on board looking out the back of Chapman to Noble, I should say. Chapman weaving his way across rather defensively, rather aggressively. Noble trying to go to the outside, couldn't get it done. And all the meanwhile, John Merritt unchallenged at the top end of the tree. Chapman trying to hang on and go with him, but if Merritt finds a way to build a little bit of a buffer here, forget about it.
I must say, Nick Wood is doing an exceptional job hanging onto the back of Adam Lavis there. And he didn't finish too great in the previous races, but now he is full throttle going through this section. So doing well. If maybe these two can fight a little more here, Sam Chapman and Chris Noble, that might allow Adam Lavis to just eke out the gap, and then it'll be a true 5-way fight for the lead. Actually, possibly 6. Lane Thoburn has really been moving 2 positions now gained from the start of the race, and he's within half a second. So, yeah, we could see a crazy battle at the front.
Indeed, we could. Round they come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count them, ladies and gentlemen. Lane Thoburn now has clear air. It won't take him long to latch onto the back of Nick Wood. This is the best run he's had so far in the last short while. Round they come. It's a race in 6 at the front, provided that Lavis can latch onto Noble. Noble latching onto Chapman. Chapman staying with Merritt. Down the main straight we go. Great to have you along for the ride. Thursday night motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Far from done. Formula B from the Rudskogen Motorsenter. Chapman the fastest lap of the race. Up on the outside of John Merritt to turn 1. Chapman fancies his chances of leading this thing. Little bit of hip and shoulder required to get the job done, but he finds a way by John Merritt. And he did it with the fastest lap of the race as well. 1 minute 37.015. Merritt second, Noble third. Lavis under pressure there on the outside, on the inside actually from Nick Wood. Soburn trying to latch on and go with them. Merritt back down the inside of Chapman. Chapman's got to be careful of the presence of Noble. Noble could find a way back down the inside. Up in the second, no. Chapman closes the door. Nick Wood's found a way by Adam Lavis. Lavis latches on and they're trying to go with Chris Noble and they've latched onto him. So we've got a 5-way fight. Make it 6 as Thoburn joins the party. Lavis, the door slightly ajar, courtesy of Nick Wood. But he can't get through on the inside. Oh, it's frantic at the Rudskogen Motorsenter. It's actually delivering better than I thought it would. And I think what we saw at Zandvoort last week, Daniel Correa really helped that, because I don't think we were expecting anything riveting at Zandvoort, and boy, were we wrong there.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to all of us. 3 incredible races, photo finishes in all of them. And then, as you said earlier on, we didn't think that Rudskogen would give us the exact same type of racing, but I'm pleasantly being proven wrong. This is interesting. The reverse grid wasn't the best. The top 3 really did spread out and have their own little race. But now, when everybody started where they probably should have started, just have a look. John Merritt is doing a great job at leading this race, but he has been under constant threat from Chapman and Noble. And then again, look at Nick Wood. He managed to get past Lavis and hold that position. Lavis is doing a great job staying to the back of that. And then let's not forget, Lane Thoburn has brought it down under that half a second. So we truly do have 6 cars fighting for the lead of the race, and we're only 7 minutes in.
This will be the lap that takes us to half race distance, ladies and gentlemen. 1:37.015 for Chapman, the fastest driver of the race. Merritt the leader by 0.6 of a second. Again, they don't want to let him get too far away. And I think your point's valid, Daniel, because last time round, unfortunately, it was the garbage that happened on the first 2 laps, all of the incidents that happened on the first 2 laps that really shaped that race. Because once the field was divided and separated and split, there was no coming back from that. Yeah, we had a couple of good positional battles further afield, but nothing at the pointy end of town that really grabbed our attention. Now, completely different story, because if you're not in this pack of 6, you're not getting any screen time at the moment. Although there is a good little 3-way fight for 11th between Brendan Nealon, Pete Matson, and also Phil King that we might have a look at a little bit later on if all hell breaks loose here. And these 6 are no longer joined at the hip. Round they come, onto the main straight, 5 down, 5 to go. Merritt the leader, and Chapman going with him, under pressure from Noble, but they've got to be mindful that if they don't work together to try and latch back onto Merritt, they can forget about it. This is what happened further down the field to Pete Matson. The rear end gone, and synchronised spinning with all 3 of them. Wow. That was also King and Nealon, I believe. Merritt the leader, and back they come. Noble up on the outside, then switches across to the inside because Chapman's moved across to cover him off. Now they latch back in, or tuck back in rather. But they're slowly but surely losing John Merritt. 1:36.957, punched out by both John Merritt and Chris Noble, joint fastest laps of the motor race. This one's not over yet, not in the slightest. Do not touch the dial, don't move a muscle, stay where you are and stay glued to this, because this has been riveting stuff thus far. I feel as though there might be another last lap Zach coming on here. And the first one certainly delivered. This one, all the right ingredients to do just as much in the entertainment front.
Yeah,
Here they go again. You're up, then we'll go.
Yeah, you just keep an eye there on the gap between Sam Chapman and John Merritt, because John is doing a fantastic job building it up. As you said, John and Chris both did the same lap last go round. but I have a sneaking suspicion that that is not going to be the case this time, as John is constantly putting time on there. 0.7 now the gap between P1 and P2, and this might be a problem because the more that Sam Chapman has to fight to defend his position from Chris Noble, the more time that John Merritt's going to get ahead. Having said that, though, Nick Wood, 136.826, fastest lap of the race.
Are we surprised? No, because anything can be achieved in the slipstream. Take nothing away from Nick Wood. He's here. He's a contender. They're still 0.6 away from Merritt. He's controlling this race perfectly. But can he lead it all the way to the checkered flag? 3.5 laps to go. We'll find out very shortly. They're on the limit here. That's Adam Lavis for riding on board with. Doing a very nice job of it.
The other thing to note there too is that Lane Thoburn has dropped off the back of that pack, 1.17 seconds down the road. So unfortunately he will lose out on the draft from the cars ahead. So this has gone from 6 to 5 cars in the pack as Sam Chapman and Chris Noble are trading places like a high-octane game of hot potato. And Nick Wood is waiting in the wings. So if one of them make a drastic mistake just like that, Sam Chapman a little too wide. Noble into P2, Wood into P3, and Lavis into P4. Sam Chapman losing 3 positions there.
Yep, and it happens like that. You open the floodgates and you don't get a chance to close them. Blink, miss, gone. And now Chapman with all the work to do.
And have a look at the gap that built at the front there. Merritt now past 1 second.
Yep. This race could now well and truly be over. For John Merritt. He's just got to keep it on the black stuff. And if anyone's going to do it, it's JM. It's Hot Lap. He's got that name for a reason. Poor boy. We're right on board with Chapman. Back out of pursuit of where he was a few moments ago. Down the inside of Lavis. Going back to fourth. Sam Chapman. No. Not the first part of the quarter, but certainly in the second part. Lavis shuts the gate. Chapman and Lavis side by side. That's going to be to the advantage of Nick Wood here. Chapman around the outside. Can't get it done. Lavis holds on to fourth. How good's this been? This is lap 8. There are 2 to go this time by the line.
Again, another thing to note, all of that fighting allowed Thoburn to bring the gap back. He is now under the 1 second mark. So if he keeps it clean and on the tram tracks around the circuit, he'll be able to bring it down again into the red. So if it's red, it's within 5 tenths. Yellow.
And even more interestingly, mate, the margin between Merritt and Noble is back with inside a second as well. The yellow light next to Noble's name, the yellow number. He is slowly but surely trying to claw John Merritt back to the fight, back to the train, and successfully doing so. He's now in the slipstream, down the main straight, 2 to go.
Another thing to look at as well, I'm not sure if you can see it on your live timing, but nobody in the top 10 has an off-track.
Chapman on the inside! On the outside now of Lavis. Lavis fighting back. Chapman with the run around the outside. Here comes Thoburn as well. Lavis is going to hold on for now. But now we've got 2 distinct races. It's first, second, and third. It's fourth, fifth, and sixth. The top 3 are gone to the tune of 1.4. Forget about it. And Chapman is in unfamiliar territory. He's not been off the podium so far tonight. Barring a calamity up the front, that will change here and now. But at least he's got Lavis back on the inside. Great opportunistic move from him to get back to fourth. And look at Thoburn hovering as well. Far from done at the Rudskogen Motorsenter. We're right on board with Thoburn. Here comes Lavis. Lavis opens the door, slightly ajar. Down the inside comes Thoburn. Gotcha. Up around the outside. Lavis not content with that. He won't settle. He doesn't want to yield. He doesn't want to relent. Back down the inside. Can Lavis get by again? You betcha. They're still side by side, this pair. How good. How good on a Thursday night. Main straight, white flag. 1 to go this time. Thoburn on the inside of Lavis. The battle for fifth continues. And that's to the advantage of Sam Chapman, who's bolted. He's gone. White flag in the air, and it looks like Barney's holding a pit board as well. Side by side go Thoburn and Chapman down to turn one. Let's make it 3. Lavis back down the inside. Back to P5.
Oh, Nick Wood, he's gone.
Merritt at the front has got Noble for company. Kevin Henderson's dropped up into 6th spot because Nick Wood's gone. Nick Wood's thrown it down the road. Nick Wood has gone down to 8th place. So all of a sudden, Chapman and Lavis are fighting for the last spot. Well, Chapman's actually got the last spot on the podium, and Lavis and Thoburn are fighting for 4th. But look at Noble. Noble working. Wants to deny Merritt the clean sweep. It was brilliant racecraft from Merritt that netted him the race win in race 1, and he hasn't looked back since then. He hasn't been challenged until this point. Can Merritt hold on? Can Noble prevent the clean sweep, the hat-trick for JM on a Thursday night? Here we go! Merritt to the inside, Noble to the outside. Noble tucks back in. Merritt driving a beautiful line here and making that Formula V as wide as he possibly can to make the task as difficult as he possibly can for Chris Noble. Through they come. 2 corners to go. Merritt, can he get the job done? Or will Noble try something around the outside and try and get the drive and drag down the main straight? Here they come. Checkered flag flies. Don Merritt picks up a clean sweep of the Rudskogen Motorsenter. You're guilty. Held off Noble by quarter of a second, and only that. Chapman in for 3rd. Lavis held off Thoburn. 2 Alpha boys in the top 5. Hendo slipped back to 6th in the end, and Reese Gosner was a very close 7th. 8th went to Nick Wood. Not sure what happened to him, but he threw it down the road late in the piece. Then Jonathan Hooper, Grant Gill, Pete Matson, Brendan Nealon and Phil King sorting out the last positional battle on the racetrack. 12th is on the line. It's going to go to Nealon. King happy to follow him across the line. It's done. Another Thursday night classic on the platforms of the GSRC, and that is why we call Formula V here on a Thursday night the main course, not the entree. The Porsches will be dessert.
Oh boy, what a race. A close one there at the front towards the end, but John Merritt managed to hold off Chris Noble for that P1 finish again. And so am I correct in saying he won all 3?
Yep.
He
Merritt
did.
the clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Excellent there. So
hard to do in Formula V, but if anyone's going to do it, it'll be Jay Merritt, young hot lap. He's done it again. Not the first time we've seen it from him, but each time equally as impressive as the last. Noble in for 2nd. Chapman got back to 3rd, so he got back onto the podium. Then Thoburn in behind Lavis there. Lavis for 4th, so it was near, but not near enough for Lavis tonight. Thoburn, Henderson, then Gosner, Wood, Hooper and Gill. Can we find out what the hell happened to Nick Wood on the last lap there? He was 5th going into the last lap, 4th even, and then all of a sudden trickled down to 8th, and then back we went through. Hooper, and Gill the top 10. Matson, Nealon and King made up the finishing order. Doesn't get much better than that on a Thursday night anywhere in sim racing circles. This is what happened to Nick Wood start of the last lap. Oh, and he was starting to go with Noble and Merritt. And all of a sudden, he got left behind. Unlucky. But that was a rather unique round of the Formula V series because we're not used to having rolling starts. That's number 1. Number 2, we're not used to having that smaller field. But if that smaller field can produce that much action, I'm here for it. I'm here for it every week, except the next 2, which I've already put in for annual leave. And that was before I knew Formula V was going to be on our coverage this season, on our as part of our offerings on our platforms. But I'm not saying no to the going to XL Nationals, that's for sure. Unless I can commentate from Carco next Thursday afternoon. No, I don't think I can. Sam Chapman, hats off to you, mate. Good fight back in the end. Got yourself 3 podium finishes tonight. Stiff competition from Chris Noble and John Merritt. Merritt a cut above with the clean sweep, but you picked up 3 podium finishes. That's a great result. And another good track choice from you. We were a little bit sceptical, but it delivered.
Yeah, it's very different in, I guess, the overtake is so hard to overtake out there, even in events. So, yeah, it was, those two with Chris and John, that was just unreal racing. Super close. And then towards the end with Adam and that as well, once I mucked up, got swamped. Yeah, that was just good fun, just sweaty afterwards.
One small mistake, mate, and easily 1, 2, 3 positions go. That's Formula V for you.
Yeah, it is, and in that final race, it was much more bunched up. I think we sort of brought a bit further away in some of the other ones, but that one was much more bunched up, so one little error and it's game time. I was a little bit too aggressive trying to get the overtake done, and lost it.
Now, just so that everybody's on the same page, you're doing some tweaking with the scheduling of the upcoming races. Do you want to let everybody else in on what's going on there, please?
Yes. So given that this was your captain's pick, I wanted you to be able to commentate Villeneuve.
Yes.
So we've swapped that around. We're chucking Barber in next week, and Villeneuve will go in its place in round 8.
So that'll, of course, be November 16, if memory serves.
I haven't got it in front of me, but that sounds about right, Zach.
Very nicely done. Great week of racing. You guys were busy on Tuesday night, Schultze and Dan last night, and now Dan and I tonight. There's something special about Formula V every time we see it.
Oh, yeah, there always is. Yeah, we had a great time on Tuesday night, Grant and I, some good up-and-comers racing in the F4s around Suzuka, but then some incredible racing in the GT1s around Watkins Glen. The top 4 just split by a hair's length for most of the race there. So, been a good week of racing. Sim broke last night and I had to reinstall it, so no GT4, so that GT4 season continues to go to the toilet. But Formula V's, we're always out. I'm happy I could get onto it.
And, it says something about the quality of racing here when you got you and Chris Noble and John Merritt within an earshot of one another, but something that, again, when someone like John Merritt, who isn't always available, isn't always here, but has become a stalwart in these little Vs, can turn up and get a clean sweep in the category that I would argue is the hardest to get a clean sweep in.
Yeah, when he's here, he's very hard to beat, especially around these sort of technical circuits where he can sort of show his pace of racecraft, really. It was always hard to beat. Definitely helped in that consolation race that shuffled up very quickly along the start line. I think I came out about the third corner and he was in second place from 10.
Yeah.
I just went, okay, well there goes that.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can chase him down, and we were sort of matching times for a number of laps, and just couldn't get it done. So that's pretty standard with John Merritt in the V. And
Chapo, any reason for the rolling start tonight?
That's my own incompetence. I'll claim I'm a rookie on the iRacing server setup. It's something Adam brought me about, but clearly I missed it on this week. So we'll have to go back and do some checking. I'll have to switch around a few rounds anyway, so we'll have to do a bit of work. But yes, we'll try not to have it happen again. I don't mind the rolling start though, to be honest.
No, they were good. They were good.
And we got a nice little parade lap, a bit of a view of the nice Scandinavian hills. So, swings and roundabouts.
Absolutely, but it gives us bugger all time to turn around and get ready for the Porsches. However, we're looking forward to that from the concrete canyons of the Grand Prix of Belle Circuit in Detroit, Michigan. Looking forward to next week. Barber, great little racetrack for these cars. Yeah,
it absolutely is. It's got just enough straight, but it's quite technical. You can go side by side for a lot of it. But yeah, there should be a great track in these. I've done it before in these. It's been good. So looking forward to that.
And looking forward to watching all the action from over in Western Australia. Hey, mate, thanks for your time tonight as always. Well done. Good luck. I believe you're jumping into race control now for the Porsche.
Yes, I will. Keep Jamie company.
Someone needs to. He's been jumping up in to the commentary box here because he's been too lonely in race control. But since he's here, we'll bring him in. Pretty clean racing, all in all.
Been fantastic. From going back from last night into tonight, it's been quite easy. Just sitting here having a couple of drinks and just being able to enjoy some racing, unlike some nights we have. Yeah, it's a very nice change.
Indeed. Now, with regards to the Porsches, you must be waiting with bated breath for what might unfold in the early laps of the invert top 10 race.
Oh, cold tyres and a very stereotypical American truck, which is just bumpy as hell. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely mayhem through the first couple of corners. But there's some really, really fast guys in here, and they should be able to keep it in check and get their tyres up, and then we should be in for some really quick racing.
Indeed, we should. All right, well, on that note, gentlemen, with no one else jumping in to have a chat to us, we might take a break. Thank you to both of you for jumping in and having a chat and keeping us informed and up to date. On the platforms of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, cannot wait to see the battle between Noble, Chapman and Merritt resume next week in Birmingham, Alabama, but on the other side of the break, as we've already detailed. It's sprint racing. It's 5 for the price of 2 on a Thursday night. We go from the main course to the dessert portion of the evening now, and it's Porsche racing from the streets of Belle, Detroit, Michigan. It's Thursday night motorsport on the platforms with Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. We break, we come back with more, and when we do have pictures coming in from Belle, we'll have them up on the screen, and commentary will commence at the back end of the qualifying session as we get ready for another round of sprint racing, Porsche style. Stay with us. Thursday Night Motorsport coming to you live and exclusive on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world across Facebook and Twitch, and also YouTube nowadays. And leg 2 of the doubleheader, we go from the main course to dessert. We go from Europe to the United States. We go from Formula V to Porsche. And we go from a 3-race sprint format to a 2-race sprint format. All the subtle changes rolled into one on One Make Thursday, and it's great to have you along for the ride. I'm Zach Capen, Daniel Correa Stars here alongside me. Track and weather conditions on the right-hand side. I'll update them for you once we get into the racing, because we know that the server will switch over from qualifying very shortly. Detroit, Michigan, 3.76 kilometres long. One of the great circuits. No longer used by the IndyCar series, of course. They've moved back to downtown. But yes, we're on the island of Belle. And it is Detroit, Michigan. It is round 4 of the Porsche Cup and another sprint round. There's the championship standings. Coming into the night, Jake Jackson, the leader, 139. Matt Dench, 133. 127 of those, Brendan Whitaker and Paul Wilson on 117. And Anthony Adshead has a 1-point advantage over Sam Muir, 114, 113, 99 for Nick Wood, 88 for Ben Pedersen, 78 for Andrew Dutch, and 75 for Chris Whitaker. Now, Chris is here tonight. I can't see Brendan. We will get to the bottom of that one for you very shortly. In the meantime, there's the Open Cup standings. Joe Baldwin on top, 160 plays Adam Lavis, 123, 109 for Stephen Gallagher, and 98 for Dale Sharp, while Christian Tosh makes up the top 5 on 86 points. Cars lining up, getting ready to go. No rolling starts here this time round. We've got the Porsches ready to rock and roll. Let's have a look at the track and weather settings now. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we know that Detroit, Michigan is on what they call Central Time over there in the United States. So, yes, if you convert it, that'd be 16 hours into the future for us, and that would be a 6 a.m. start. No, thank you. 19 degrees the ambient, 22 on track, which looks like this. Benny Pedersen snagged the pole position. He's done it late in the piece. Displaced Andrew Smith, who displaced him earlier in the session, and they've both got the better of Dench. Wait for that. Watch that with interest, because we know how much Dench loves this track. That's why he's here. What can he do from third on the grid? Mindful of the invert a little bit later on. Jared Knight, who I'll be seeing on Sunday. Keep an eye out on the platforms of the GSRC. An interview with Knighty will drop on Monday. Jono Freeman in 5th place and Ben Coyden in 6th place. 2 new names to the Porsche series, hence the red numbers, or the white numbers in the red box, rather. Dane Snowden, Anthony Adshead, Jake Jackson and Chris Whitaker make up the top 10. If Whitaker benefits from the invert tonight, we'll wait and see. Wayne Hewitt, 11th, and also Gordon Ramsay in 12th. Andrew Dutch and Joe Baldwin, the best of the open split, in 14th. Paul Wilson, Nick Wood, Brett Bradbury, Adam Lavis, Christian Tosh. That will do us. That'll round out the field. Because Tony Baker, it doesn't look like he's joined the server. He was in the server earlier, but it doesn't look like he's joined the grid. So it's a field of 19 lining up on the platforms of the GSRC for race 1 or 2 in the Porsche Cup, for round 4 of the championship. Let's get ready to go to work. Ready to fire. Dench from third on the grid, uncharted territory for him. It's an all-new look front row. Pedersen and Smith lead us away. Often racing in Detroit. Watch the first couple of corners for any sort of incidents, garbage and trouble. So far, so good. They smash that hump in the road out of turn 2 and run down towards turn 3. 3 wide already on the outside. Down to turn 3. Whoa.
Oh!
First bit of trouble. There it is. Joe Baldwin's involved. Andrew Dutch is involved. And no more trouble. There goes Gordon Ramsay. Pointing the wrong way. 3 cars bite the dust on the opening lap as the rest of the field skips clear. Let's have a look at this again. This was Andrew Dutch. Oh, he just got sent. And it became a car park, a log jam down there. Be interested to see if race control want to throw the yellows here. I don't think they will. Oh, poor old Wayne Hewitt got left with nowhere to go. And then Gordon Ramsay on the right-hander here. Tried to go down the inside. Contact. 1, 2, 3. Oh, jeez. That is a very unfortunate opening lap. Chris Whittaker caught up in that, but managed to break clear and still sits in 14th place at the moment. Not the best start for him being caught up in garbage that early in the piece. Ben Croydon. Too deep at the end of the back straight. Now, I want to have a look here. Here's what happened to Whittaker. Also at the end of the back straight. And also too deep.
It's just met up.
That's not where I parked my car. Wow. Not a good start for CW. We'll get back to that a little bit later on.
Yes, Jake, I agree. Yep.
Jake Jackson in pit lane already. Brett Bradbury's got back out there with a fast repair, but Jake Jackson caught up in all that garbage too early in the piece, and he'll probably set the rest of this one out. And we'll see him for race 2 a little bit later on. Whoa. It's tied at the top. Dench in 3rd place. Hassling Pedersen. Smith got the jump and got clear. And going with them is Jared Knight. How good's this? Top 4. That's right. Handkerchief over them at the moment as they come around to complete the second lap. Now, how many laps are we scheduled for here? Probably 10? 11 maybe? 10? Across the line. Adam Laver should have that on the totem pole at the top of the screen, but I'm not sure.
Is it lap certain or time certain?
It's both. It'll be time certain 16 minutes, but he usually puts a lap counter on it as well.
Let's have a look.
Let me come back to that in a moment. Matt Dench still sits 3rd. And ahead of him still Pedersen and Smith. Smith controlling the race. Pedersen fancies his chances down the inside. Pedersen down the inside of Smith. Over the ripple strip they go. Up the outside. Smith holds on, but that opens the door for potentially for Dench. He got boxed in. He got the door slammed firmly in his face and then had to contend with Jared Knight up his inside. Knight and Dench, they're side by side, and here comes Jono Freeman as well. 10 laps we're being told by Jake Jackson. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. And confirmation of that at the top of your screen now, on the left-hand side at the top of the totem pole. And there is Jono Freeman. We're right on board with him. Shots fired at the front because we saw Pedersen wanting to try his luck with Smith. We saw Knight getting by Dench and posting the fastest part of the race, 1:31.061. The gloves are off early in Detroit. Jake Jackson will just hang there with all his friends. Unfortunately, Andrew Dutch is there with him. They're in pit lane and wait for the start of the next race and hopefully charge his way through. Hopefully, try a little bit of luck and stay out of trouble. You know those races can be fraught with danger. Smith defends the inside. Up to the outside goes Pedersen now. Yields.
Oh, just puts 2 tyres in the grass as well.
Watch Dench around the outside of Jared Knight to put himself on the inside of the next corner. Got him! Down the inside. Oh, Knighty has been turned! Knighty got collected by Freeman. Knight's in the wall! That was too close, too tight for comfort. Have a look at this. Bang! See you later. And as we know, nothing in the way of runoff area around here. Knight are sitting dark, concrete waiting. And Smith and Pedersen have taken off. 1.1 to the good on Dench, who's trying his best to close in. Needs these two to start dueling if he's any chance of fighting back here. But then, as we know around here already, catching one thing, passing another. Knight has slipped down to 12th. Costly moment. Race control will be kept on their toes here. They will be investigating that, I'm sure. Whoa.
5 laps in, Matt Dench with the fastest lap there, 1:30.889. Look at him shoot out to the outside now, into the braking zone. I wonder if we'll get him, and he does. Yep, well done.
What about that? Benny Pedersen offered no resistance whatsoever. Didn't offer up a fight, just let Dench throw around the outside. I think Pedersen might think that it's the lesser of two evils to follow the master at work here. To follow him through, to work with him from behind. To chase and track down Andrew Smith, who is doing a nice job of controlling this race at the moment. A little bit of pressure from Pedersen working in the early stages, but has breathing space now. Pedersen in third place, doing a nice job, we're right on board with him. Now can Dench close that gap? Whoa! Pedersen had the smallest of looks down the inside and couldn't get the job done. Quickly around the ground for you on a Thursday night, what's going on in the world of sport, because we've got the Cricket World Cup underway, we've got the WBBL underway as well. Bangladesh 2 for 110 off 20 overs. 2 for 110 off 20 overs, 30 to go there. India will chase whatever they set. And the Melbourne Stars women, 8 for 168. With the Sydney Sixers now set a target of 166 to win the opening match of WBBL 09. And of course, that one is coming your way from the North Sydney Oval on the screen to 7 around Australia. You can watch that now. But we'd much prefer that if you're planning on watching the cricket tonight. Whoa, there we go. Car number 103. Car number 103 has been hit with a 25-second penalty. Gordon Ramsay, a 25-second penalty. That's the sort of penalty that crucifies the race around here.
That's for sure.
So,
25 seconds is like 5 years in regular time.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you live in Queensland, of course. Now, very quickly, as much as I'm a cricket fan, I'm also a motor racing fan. So if you've got your sports bar set up going tonight, you've got us on one screen, you've got the cricket on the other two. If you haven't got if you haven't got Foxtel, if you've only got free to air, you haven't got the World Cup cricket tonight. That's tomorrow night. And Australia take on Pakistan. So you've got the WBBL on the screen for 7. Across the line we go. We keep going here. Smith sending off Dench for the moment. They're trying to bring Pedersen with them. A three-way fight at the top end of the tree. 1:29.819 for Matt Dench, the fastest driver of the race thus far. And have a look at him now. Smith will try and defend it to the inside. Up the outside goes Dench to the lead. No, Smith sends him wide. So it worked on Pedersen. It hasn't worked on Smith yet, but he's hanging there. He's hanging tough. Smith got across to cover it off. Beautiful defensive driving for the Porsche. Have a look at Pedersen wanting to fire it down the inside of Dench. All of a sudden, the same sort of congestion that led to the contact for Jared Knight is the order of the day here. This pack is packed up behind Andrew Smith, but they can't find a way through. The end of lap 7 is near. 3 to go this time by the line. How good's Thursday night motorsport for the Concrete Canyon? Round they go again. Pedersen doing a nice job in third place. He's following the leaders through. He was the pole sitter here. He's lost out to both of them thus far. Net code for the incident with car number 117 and car number 92. Wow, that's a big call. The incident between Jono Freeman and Jared Knight deemed net code by race control. That's cool luck for Jared Knight, who's got his way back to 10th, so he'll have the invert if things stay as they are. Now, our good mate Chris Whitaker, he's sitting 9th at the moment. So it'll be a Knight Whitaker front row. Up the outside goes Denchi. Up the outside goes Denchi. This time round, can Smith offer up any sort of resistance? Yes, he can. Dench was a little bit too deep. Too deep, too wide. Now he's trying to stay there and hang tough around the outside to put himself on the inside of the next corner. Have a look at that. Dench on the inside. Dench down the inside with barely any room to try and get it done. That invites Pedersen back into the fight. Knight and Smith, Dench and Smith still side by side. Here comes Pedersen in behind.
Oh!
Smith and Dench, nothing in there. They're banging doors in Detroit. Pedersen wants in on this fight as well, down the inside of Dench to the end of turn 9.
Oh, he's coming.
Pedersen's in the wall, was he? No! He barely hung on to it.
How did he
He
save
had
that?
that thing tank slapping. And all of that has allowed Andrew Smith to keep Dench at bay for just a little bit longer. 2 laps to go. Let's go. Smith has done a beautiful job here. There's the sting in the tail lurking, looming, you would suspect. This is awesome. A 15-second penalty for Jared Knight, unfortunately, for the unsafe rejoin after getting turned around. So it's a double-edged sword for Jared Knight. Netcode was the rule, the adjudication. That's what race control deemed to be the case, the cause of his incident in the first place. But then the rejoin cost him 15 seconds just to add insult to injury. Unlucky Jared Knight. Smith is sitting there. Sam Chapman jumped into the booth. I'll get to you in just a moment, mate. This is too good to take our eyes off it for the moment. Have a look at Knight, Dench, Pedersen. And in there for a good measure is Jono Freeman, holding his own in his Porsche debut. Back straight, let's go. He's right on board with Pedersen. A last lap thriller. I didn't think I'd be saying this, but a last lap thriller looming in the Porsches here. Dench to the outside. Oh, here comes Pedersen. Contact. Dench set out wide, but Dench has somehow hung on to it. Have a look at that. Freeman on the inside. Pedersen left the door open. Freeman's going to third. How good's this? Thursday night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. I'm not sure they can catch Smith from here. One more time around. 3 3/4 kilometres to go around the streets of Belle, Detroit, Michigan. White flag in the air. Let's go. So Smith, the leader, has led most of the way. Dench is 0.8 of a second away. He's going to have to pull out a PB at every sector to try and latch back onto Smith here. Freeman's got Pedersen at bay at the moment. He's got him covered. They're not close enough to go with Dench here. It's 2 battles of 2. First, second, third, fourth. They're fighting for rows 5 and 4 on the grid. Wide goes Freeman. Door open for Pedersen. Back down the inside. Pedersen's back to third. And at the front is Dench latching onto Smithy. Yes, he is. Is he going to be close enough to have a crack? We will find out. He won't like what's gone down so far, Dench. He's had to work bloody hard for this one. They're on the back straight for the final time. I think Smith has done enough here. Helped by Pedersen, helped by Freeman. Have a look at Dench. Can he fire it down the inside? No. Pedersen and Freeman still side by side. Pedersen just holding on. Dench is right there. Watch this. Up and under, out of turn 12. Smith drove it off the corner beautifully. Dench is doing all he can to find a way through. Can't quite get it done, I don't think. Have a look at this out of the second last corner. That's turn 13. That's turn 14. Andrew Smith is going to pull off a victory that no one saw coming. That's unexpected in every sense of the word. Smithy beats Dench in Detroit at his own game. Smith beats the Dench mark. How about that?
Wow.
Oh boy.
Gee, Zach, I wish I wasn't looking at incidents for most of that race. I must have missed a cracker. What's going on there?
Extraordinary. Chapo, on the subject of incidents, a few to report on, mate. A few penalties dished out.
Yeah, classic Belial. It's a bit of there was a couple going on. So there was Jake Jackson got done by one move on, I think, turn 5 when they were sort of a couple to abreast, but yeah, it wasn't enough alongside, so 25-second penalty for Marshall there. Joe Baldwin as well drove through less sort of 4 safety points. It was very deep under brakes there. just need to be more careful on that first lap, really. It's something they're really hot on this season. Then Jared Knight sort of had a couple because he got caught up with a little bit of netcode that spun him round, but then was a little bit eager to get going again and backed out into the path of Danestaden, unfortunately. But largely it looks pretty good. I mean, it's a really difficult track, and that was some incredible racing towards the end there, so it's not like they were doing it lightly.
This is very true. All very true. What great racing it was, though. In every sense of the word, we cannot wait. I mean, if that's the sort of carnage that's going to be dished up in a normal scenario, I can't wait to see how much work you blokes are going to have on your hands here after the invert, because the top 10 are getting flipped on their lid, mate, as is standard procedure on a Thursday night in a sprint race format. This has all the right ingredients to be fireworks from the outset.
Sure is, and on that note, I better go keep Jamie company again.
I would imagine. I would imagine that's very, very good judgment on your part. I would imagine that he's going to need some assistance in there, based on everything we've seen in the past here in Detroit. So good luck with that, and we'll catch up at the end.
Cheers.
And they won't be afraid to throw the safety car if they need to tonight. We saw it out in action last night in the Downforce Legends as well. So Smith, Dench, Pedersen, Freeman, then Adshead, Croydon, Wood, Whittaker, Knight, and Lavis made up the top 10. Adam Lavis gets the invert. How about that? Paul Wilson, Wayne Hewitt, Joe Baldwin, Dane Stadden, Christian Koch, Gordon Ramsay, Brett Bradbury, Andrew Dutch, and Jake Jackson made up the field. We get ready to go again on the streets of Detroit. This is Thursday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and also YouTube. And we do it with thanks to the great people scrolling across the bottom of your screen here. That include Waste Options, Orbicus Australia, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, Leipzig Racing, Wave Australia, and Flash Graphic. Joe Baldwin jumps in from the cockpit to have a quick chat to us here as the cars line up on the grid, mate. Good evening to you. That was frantic in every sense of the word.
Yeah, look, I just want to put a public apology to Andrew Dutch. I had a car come up on the left and was concentrating on him and missed my brake marker by about 5 metres, and on the cold tyres I just locked up and slid straight into him. So I just just want to come in and apologise. That was completely on me. Just a bit of adrenaline after a decent qualifying, and made a mistake like that. So other than that, it was a pretty good race, pace-wise.
Absolutely it is. We commend and applaud your gentlemanly behaviour as per usual, Joe. Go and get amongst it in race 2, mate. Better luck.
Thanks, mate.
There's the top 10 on the grid. Adam Lavis has clear air over the rest of the chasing pack in the open split. The elite split will be led away by Jared Knight, Chris Whittaker, Nick Wood. Then Ben Croydon, Anthony Adshead on row 3, Jono Freeman, Ben Pedersen, row 4, Matty Dench, and Andrew Smith, row 5. We've seen an absolute cracker here in race 1. What will race 2 dish up? We're about to find out. Wilson, Hewitt, Baldwin, Snadden, Koch, Ramsey, Bradbury, Dutch, and Jackson make up the field. Tony Baker has opted not to take the start this time round. Ready to fire in Detroit. Let's go in the Motor City. One more time around. Round 4 of the Porsche Cup. Race 2. Oh, contact already. 2 cars in the wall. Christian Koch and Jake Jackson caught up in another one, and more drama. Oh, they'll have
Safety
to throw
car
the
for
safety
sure.
car here, I would imagine.
Safety car for
There's
sure.
so many cars caught up in carnage from the outset. If they let that roll, then, I mean, they're brave. But it looks as though everyone's been able to drive away from the scene of the crime. So it'll be interesting to see how far spread out this field is and what that means for the rest of the race. But there's been at least 5-6 cars caught up in incidents on the opening lap. Hold your breath. Pedersen back side by side, but Croydon there on the way through. And still side by side. There's concrete there, boys. Be careful. They are allowed to keep racing. We don't go safety car. Interesting decision. And so many races already compromised. Paul Wilson, Nick Wood, Dane Snadden, Jared Knight, Joe Baldwin, Andrew Smith, and Jono Freeman all caught up in that. That's to the advantage of Chris Whittaker, who leads this field. From Adam Lavis, Ben Pedersen, Matty Dench already 3rd and 4th. They started back on positions 8 and 9 respectively. And so the garbage went to the outside, and the boys came through and swept it up on the way. Down the inside, Pedersen makes light work of Lavis. Through he goes. Dench is fourth. Next target, Lavis. Needs to make light work on Lavis here to try and get out in pursuit of Benny Pedersen and Chris Whitaker. Pedersen's next target will be Whitaker. And Dench is under pressure from Croydon here. Down the inside. Gone. See you later. Thanks for coming, Adam Lavis. Lavis has nothing to worry about at the moment because he's still well and truly clearly the leader of the open split. Well, Daniel, we expected fireworks. We got them, but unfortunately they ended abruptly and prematurely.
Yeah, interesting call there from Race Control. I really would have thought, considering the amount of cars involved, that there'd be a safety car, but I guess they determined that everyone sort of got going in a reasonable amount of time, and so they chose not to do that. So anyway, play on as it goes, as Lavis just gets overtaken there by Ben Croydon, one of the newcomers here. But I must say, looking at the front, Chris Whitaker, 1 second down the road there from Ben Pedersen, so he really capitalised on all the chaos at the start of the race.
Indeed he did. So, I think this is Ben Croydon in fourth place at the moment, and back we go to Dane Snowden in 13th. And he's all over the back of Nick Wood at the moment. Uh-oh. Jared Knight's night is done. It goes from bad to worse. That car will be in all sorts of tatters as he comes to pit lane. Actually, no, Knight continues on. It's Andrew Smith coming to pit lane. My apologies. Jared Knight continues on with a damaged car, and he'll persevere with the compromised product for the moment until he can get a fast repair in pit lane, if fast repairs were even available in the Porsche Cup these days. I'm not sure. 3 of 17. Chris Whitaker controlling the race. Ben Pedersen and Matt Dench towing along.
Ben Pedersen is slowly but surely, single-handedly extending the track limits of this track. He is grazing away just millimetre by millimetre of these extended barriers. The car, or whoever designs the livery and is responsible for putting it on every race, is going to be furious with him at the end of this one.
Absolutely. Down the inside, can't get by Whitaker. That is going to invite Dench into the fight. If Dench gets by Pedersen before Pedersen gets by Whitaker, look out. Look out. Round they come again. Pedersen to the inside of Whitaker to turn one. Got him. Got him. Whitaker gets across to cover off Denchy, but for how long? Good to finally see CW having a solid run in the Porsche, I might add. He hasn't had a fair share of luck so far.
Dench can grab on the inside here.
We have different definitions of fair, but he hasn't had a good share of luck so far. Now, Dench down the inside, made light work of Whitaker there, out in pursuit of Pedersen he goes.
So a really good show here from the front runners. The top three, there's Croydon there in P4, waiting in the wings, but unfortunately 2 seconds back, so that is quite a big job there to try and catch up, unless something goes wrong, of course, with the top three. And there will be a pit stop involved in this race as well, so that will throw a spanner into the works. Looking at the gaps throughout the mid section of the field, looks like Gordon Ramsay is within 1 second of Anthony Adted there for P5. Brett Bradbury chasing down Adam Lavis, which is for the lead of the Open Cup, I might add. So we'll watch that one with some certainty there. And then, of course, Jared Knight just dropping back. 15 positions lost from the start of this race currently.
Oh, yeah.
Or make that 16 as he comes into the pits.
Yep, and Andrew Dutch is already parked up for the night. His night is done. Matt Dench, fastest lap of the race, moment at 30.369. Out of pursuit of Ben Pedersen now. Happy to sit there for the moment and do his usual trick when they get to pit lane. won't be happy about the fact that he dropped the first race to Andrew Smith, but Smith is buried down in 17th, having been caught up in all the garbage early in the piece. And so as far as round honours are concerned, Denchi all of a sudden finds himself in the box seat. And well done to Gordon Ramsay, sitting in there in 6th place at the moment to stop. And in behind him is Wayne Hewitt and Jake Jackson. He's following Anthony Adshead right now. This is lap 5:17. Thursday Night Motorsport, One Make Thursday. Platforms of Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And the main course was good, but dessert's been okay too.
Those gaps in the front are starting to really extend. Chris Whitaker had a really strong start. Unfortunately, now 2 seconds behind. So although he has pace in his own right, it does not seem as though, around here anyway, that he can match the charges of Ben Pedersen and Matthew Dench. So I assume that gap will extend more and more as the race goes on. At 5:17, of course, at the moment. Dench is within attack range of Ben Pedersen, but I don't think he will. We're used to seeing him stay behind and do some sneaky fuel saving. So I'm curious to see if that'll be the method of attack for tonight as well. And they'll just wait for the pit strategy. Everyone else has now extended past that 5/10 mark. So yes, closest battle is this one right here.
Down the inside, Dench on Pedersen. He didn't wait as long as I thought he might. He's happy to lead this one from the front. Got a great run off turn 2. Made the move stick into 3. Dench the leader in Detroit. 1 minute 30.064 as well, just to add insult to injury. Just when the pack think that they're clawing in and getting closer and putting some pressure on, the old Dench mark of Porsche and GT3 racing in these servers, in these GSRC leagues and competitions, continues to do his best work.
No
further action on the race start. Race control are taking no further action on the race start. And there'll be a few people breathing a sigh of relief on that one, but there'll be a few people kicking up a stink, no doubt. There'll be a few people with their night already ruined that will not be happy to read that. But at the end of the day, action or not, it matters very little now because the damage has already been done. So race control have deemed it a racing incident. Play on. Matty Dench, the leader. Doing a beautiful job.
I don't know what happened there, but Matthew Dench overtook Ben Pedersen and then decided, I want this race done as fast as possible. Look at him go. A 1:29.728, and now he's already extended the lead to 1 second.
Goodbye. Thanks for coming. See you boys next time I drop into the server. Denchi's not committed to the whole championship. And there'll be a few people in these servers that are very happy about that. The open split at the moment being led by Adam Lavis. The pro split, the elite split being led by Matt Dench. The Porsche TB confirmed race, TBC race, is a huge playing field tonight. Ben Croydon, Gordon Ramsay, Wayne Hewitt, they all have not been allotted a split, a server. And in behind them, of course, Jono Freeman. And that's that. So keep an eye out. We make our way onto the back straight. Brett Bradbury, 10th, come on. Right on board with him following Adam Lavis. Lavis still the leader of the open split. Looking to do the double tonight. How lucky he is that he's got producers and directors to take his place on a Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday so that he can actually go out and enjoy some of the racing.
Oh, that's a crash there from Paul Wilson.
It is, and got a little bit of smoke behind. And probably a fair scrape on the concrete too.
Matthew Dench sets another fastest lap, 1:29.585.
1:29.5. And what? Keep an eye out too, right, because the last lap of the race will come and go, and Dench will do his usual thing. He'll go out in pursuit of purple sectors, purple boxes. even though he'll have the purple boxes already ticked, he'll go out just to rub salt into the wound of everybody else in the server. That's what we've come to expect from him. Wayne Hewitt, great to see him out there in the Porsche. I think now's probably a good time to, before all hell breaks loose on pit lane, we've still got the top 11 to come to pit lane. Let's jump on board for a lap with Wayne Hewitt. Now that things have settled down, and we've got a fair few gaps out there, let's jump on board and go for a lap of the Detroit circuit with Wayne Hewitt. Just like that, a lap of the Grand Prix of Belle, Detroit Michigan Circuit. Of course, IndyCar no longer running here. They're running downtown these days. And this remains an old favourite for several members of the club, and race 1 is the theory of this race, and why. We've already lost Jared Knight from this race, so too Andrew Dutch. Everybody else out there still circulating. Matty Dench has completed lap 9, starts lap 10, 8 laps to go. He's a clear leader now, out to the tune of 3.1 seconds. Into pit lane comes Ben Croydon, and Brett Bradbury rounds out the top 10 of and the only team yet to transit the lane. However, for anyone that transited the lane, Andrew Smith on lap 2, for instance, very early in the piece, their critical number will be very interesting. Unfortunately, Jared Knight just conceding defeat on the start of race 2. They're saying he ran out of talent. That sounds like a Chris Whittaker line, a throwaway one at that. We'll wait to see what Whittaker has to say about this race. He's sitting third at the moment. He'll be chuffed with that, I'm sure. But it will be, he will be one of the beneficiaries in all of this. It won't be lost on him that it is the misfortune of others that are going to be to his advantage. We've got Gordon Ramsay on screen at the moment. But the interesting thing for mine, Daniel Correa, as we welcome you back, is that now we've only got 8 yet to stop. Ben Croydon stopped at the end of lap 9, so too Jake Jackson. Good to see Jackson fighting back. But yeah, the damage was done lap 1 and 2. There's a bit of uncertainty around Andrew Smith now because I don't think the critical number was that early in the piece, so I think he might have to serve another invoice in the way of a juice top-up very late in the piece. But apart from that, it's smooth sailing for Dench at the front of the field, and Ben Pedersen can't go with him.
No, 4 seconds is the gap between Matthew Dench and Ben Pedersen. That is a tall order, especially when Matthew Dench does stuff like that, a 129.377 to set the fastest lap of the race yet again. Now, of course, they haven't pit. None of the top 8 have pit, so that could come into effect. I doubt it. We've seen Matthew Dench do this time and time again. Even with pit strategies, he comes in, he leaves, and he still has a good, decent 3-4 seconds in front of everyone. So, bar a mistake, which, let's be honest, it's very rare. I don't see how Ben Pedersen could take the lead of this race. Also, I wouldn't imagine that we'd see an incident significant enough to bring out a safety car to bring the gap down, especially since we only have 6 laps of racing to go. So, all things considered, yeah, I think Matthew Dench has got this one yet again.
Back we go to Jono Freeman. and then a challenging second race for him and many others. I mean, look at those positional gains and losses on the totem pole. I mean, Dempsey +8, Pedersen +6, +2 for Adset, +7 for Hewitt, +10 for Ramsey. Of course, they're yet to stop. That's fine. -6 for Lavis from pole position. Brett Bradbury, +9. Benny Corden, -4. +9 for Jake Jackson. Only -1 for Andrew Smith, who's on the comeback trail at the moment, but might still have an invoice to pay. Damien Abbey, +2. -6 for Freeman. -3 for Paul Wilson. -2 for Trucker. -12, if you don't mind, for Nick Wood. -2 for Christian Posh. Just extraordinary. The gains and losses out there. Phenomenal. But that's what early race carnage will do to a race. It'll throw the form guide right out of the window, and it will just shake everything up in ways that you don't like to see, because obviously what's followed has been rather processional, rather tame in comparison.
Yeah, that tends to be the end result when you've got cars and drivers. So these are a Cup series. They're spec, they're exactly the same up and down the grid. The only thing that's different is the guy driving them and the paint on the cars. And when you've got guys, especially in the Elite Series, they're as fast as they are, then you're only talking tenths.
Leaders on pit road.
Boom!
Dench, Pedersen,
Wow.
Whitaker. Oh, into the wall goes Jake Jackson. Another crunch for Jackson. Dench is in and out in 5 seconds. Pedersen, Whitaker, Adhead, Ramsey still on pit road. Brett Bradbury, the only one on the track now, yet to stop. We'll wait and see if he comes in this time by. And Jackson, unfortunately, that was just look at like a hell of a lot of understeer for him as Brett Bradbury continues on. So he'll go to lap 13. Everybody else gets to 12. And now the field is pretty much cleansed. As Sam Chapman joins us with an update from race control.
Yeah, no, it's been, I mean, that start was something, but realistically, once it started, there was no stopping it. No one was doing anything completely egregious. It was just one person getting checked up and moving over, and a bit of a chain reaction there. Looks like Jared copped a little bit of netcode or something in that spin too. So, yeah, there was just a lot going on. I don't think it was anyone in particular's fault. Incident between Joe and Gordon Marshall going down into that turn there, the braking zone. It was a tough call, but their braking lines sort of converged a little bit, and that's what caused the contact. So really put it on anyone in particular, as Joe was sort of turning a little bit right while on that line. So, but then he sort of lit up the rears going into the runoff lane and hit another car. So that's what the safety point penalty was about.
More trouble. So there you go, another replay and more trouble brewing later in the piece. Chabo, while we got you, I just noticed some chatter popping up on our Discord servers with regards to that reverse grid or invert grid race start in Formula V. Your take on it?
Yeah, I think it was just the pole position. I think was a bit nervous. Like he hadn't done one of the rolling starts before, so wasn't sure if he had to wait until green or not. And subsequently, there was a bit of I guess change in speed, which you can't really do. So that checked up a lot of people, and like I had to get it right on the brakes because otherwise I would have got a penalty for overtaking a car ahead. So it completely shuffled it up to start with. I guess a bit unfortunate, but that's what happens sometimes with reverse grids. Is especially if you throw in a rolling start, which we don't usually do. It might throw those sort of things up.
And as far as the rest of it's concerned, mate, what else have you made of the night so far? I mean, I'm impressed by the way in which CW seems to have finally got a grip of the Porsche.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed. I mean, I'm not out there, so I can't cause any mischief. Yeah, doing a really good job out there. It's been a really good battle tonight. I mean, now obviously Detch is in front, so that's sort of a way. Yeah, there's been a few guys with pretty close pace in these. It's just been a matter of incidents and that. But yeah, certainly fanned out a little bit in this feature race.
Has it what? We start lap 15. We know that Matty Dench is a clear leader. 8.6 to the good. Andrew Smith did have to come to pit lane again to top up, boys. I suspected that would be the case. He's on his way home. But it's not going to be the result he was hoping for after winning race 1. Out in 12th place at the moment. So Dench will take round on us here from Pedersen. Whittaker's recovered nicely after finishing 8th, starting 3rd, and has finished there. Provided that he can hold Ben Croydon at bay here and Wayne Hewitt as well. And if not, I mean, a top 5 finish would be nothing to turn your nose up at, given the start of the season he has had. And then Anthony Ad said Gordon Ramsay, Gordon Marshall, James Snadden, Adam Lavis, and Jono Freeman. Brett Bradbury there in 11th place. Oh, the door's been open. It was left slightly ajar by Whittaker, and through goes Ben Croydon, not waiting for a second invitation. Oh, Croydon's at the wall. No sooner did he get by Whittaker, he smashed the wall at 10. And that has allowed Wayne Hewitt to go through. Oh, boy. That's unlucky. Croydon chipped away at it, worked so hard to try and find a way by Whittaker, and then got it all sorts of out of shape in the next corner, and that was that. Whittaker holds on to 3rd still. 2 laps to go in Detroit. Matt Dench punches out the fastest number of the night, 1:29.273. What drama. What entertainment. It's been great. Adam Lavis is on track to do a double, take a clean sweep, do the double in the open split. And that's barring one of the red drivers, one of the drivers listed with the white number of the red box on your screen there being put in the open split. Once we're done here, Adam Lavis will look at the matrix and crunch those numbers and make those decisions and adjudications for you. But we'll wait and see. Dench, Pedersen, Whittaker, Hewitt, and Croydon, Adstead, Ramsey, Snadden, Freeman, Lavis, Baldwin, Wilson, Bradbury, Jackson, Smith, Wood, Posh. The running order. Lights are on in Detroit. Sun going down. We're approaching the end of daylight saving in that part of the world. We're approaching winter. But it's still lighter than Queensland. It's beautiful. Lighter and brighter. Last lap board in the air. Dench is on his way home to an emphatic 9-second victory here. But this battle for 3rd will hold our attention from first until last as the white flag flies. Round they come. Adstead there in 6th place. Latching onto this fight as well and bringing Gordon Ramsay with him. Now, Wayne Hewitt holding Croydon at bay. Croydon backs out of it for the moment. Can we just have a look at the track and weather and temperature settings, please, there, Daniel? 23 in the evening, 18 the ambient, 19 on track. As I said, 6:23 in the evening, still lighter than Queensland. Beautiful. Marvellous. Oh, God bless the progressive and civilised concept of daylight saving. If Grant Gill's playing along at home, there's your bingo card full, I'm pretty sure. Down we go. Lap 17, the final one. We're going to get home inside that scheduled 27 minutes, well and truly, but it's only because Matt Dench is at the front of the field, toweling it up, cleaning it up, and about to rewrite the wrongs of race number 1. Dench gets the job done. He wins 1 from 2, but wins the round, and that's all that matters. Round 4 of the Porsche Cup Series on the platforms of the GSRC from the Detroit Grand Prix circuit in Belle, Michigan. Now, Second goes to Ben Pedersen. Chris Whittaker holding off a hard-charging Wayne Hewitt. Third, fourth. Ben Croydon for fifth.
Oh,
Whittaker's
Anthony
got
Ad's in the wall.
Bang into the wall goes Anthony Ad's head. Anthony Ad's head has clouded the wall, but he's still going to hold on for sixth. Ahead of Ramsey. Then down the order we go. It was Snadden, Lavis, and Baldwin, with Bradbury making up the top 11. And that was that last three there. Lavis, Baldwin, and also Bradbury were the top three of the open list. Magnificent stuff. Magnificent. So Chris Whittaker should be chuffed because he's withstood some serious pressure there to finally nab himself a podium finish in the Porsche Cup. After persevering with it the first 3 weeks and being relatively frustrated along the way, he's finally nabbed a result. He'll be chuffed. Wayne Hewitt for fourth, and Croydon for fifth. That's serious pressure to withstand as well. And Adam Lavis does the double. Off the podium in Formula V, missed out in all 3 races. But then, Dave Dench's comment I'll get back to in a moment. But then he turned that fortune around, did Adam Lavis. 5 finishes from 5 starts tonight, so we'll be happy with that. But to get the 2 W's in the Porsches, he'll be delighted. No, I'm sure. Baldwin and Bradbury in behind him, then Jack Jackson, shocker of a night for him. Freeman, Wilson, Smith got back to 15th in the end. Then Nick Wood, Christian Koch, Jared Knight, and Andrew Dutch. Joe Baldwin has departed. We'll wait to see if he comes back into the broadcast booth to have a chat to us in just a moment. He's just gone to race control momentarily. So there you go. Matty Dench, Ben Pedersen, Chris Whittaker, Wayne Hewitt, and Ben Croydon in the top 5. Now, in all of that, plenty of winners, plenty of losers, but exhilarating racing right throughout the course of the night. Again, it was the 2 invert races, Daniel, that proved to be the disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And unfortunately, we didn't have a third one for the Porsche Cup to make up for it. But, yeah, sometimes that's the way it goes. You just have a hectic start. I mean, truly hectic starts. The Formula V's had some serious carnage in that second one, that invert, and the Porsche Cup was the same. It was a lot more severe in the Porsche Cup, but in any case, everybody went away, and then when Matt Dench passed Ben Pedersen for the lead, he was just like, I'm done with this show. He just flew away with it. So it's unfortunate that the gaps exploded as far as they did. But for a while, we saw quite an interesting battle from everyone back down. And again, as you said, Chris Whittaker up there, P3. Got to be happy with that one for him.
Indeed. Very happy indeed. Great result, great racing. Matt Dench back to the top of the summit. Baldwin joins us, having just quickly ducked down into race control to say good day. Tucker fought back well on that second race, mate. Well done. Only second to Adam Lavis, so the team's going all right at the moment.
Yeah, definitely we are. If we can get things cleaned up on lap 1, it'd be nice. I'm a little bit aggrieved by turn 3 in that one where I got punted and nothing happened, but whatever, it's all right. It's race control can set as they see fit. It's sometimes they go for you, sometimes they go against you. But
Exactly.
the fibre, I actually hit the wall a lap before I wanted to pit, so I spent half the race saving fuel after I pitted. I was going to be nearly a lap short, actually a full lap short, so I managed to save, I think in about 8 laps I saved a full lap of fuel, and then got to have a fair old crack at it towards the end there, and I think I was only a couple of seconds behind Adam in the end there, 1.4 seconds at the line, so I pretty happy with that. Actually, the pace here, I'm quite surprised at how I went. I think I passed quite a few of the elite guys, so I hope it doesn't bump me up into that level, because it's probably a one-track thing. I like this place, so I think it's just a one-track pace thing.
Well, this is the point, mate. lap one, that carnage, that's the first time we've seen a replay of that, I might add, the garbage that unfolded there. But we're used to that now. And Detroit lap one, turn one of an invert situation, it's synonymous with carnage like that.
Certainly is. I don't know. There was something in the water tonight or what. I mean, I made an error in race one, which I openly admit to when going down the straight. I had a car sort of overlap me on the left, and I looked left just to check where he was. Looked up, and I missed my braking marker and wrecked. So race two, I was being as sort of ginger as I can, and there was all that kerfuffle right at turn one. I managed to wind through it without a contact, and then had contact down the end of the straight. So. But it's, some days you're the windscreen, some days you're the bug. We've said it before, and it'll happen again. But it's actually one thing I take away was it's nice to have a bit of pace in the Porsche, which is something I've always floated around that 2% mark off the fast guys, and I might have been well within that tonight, which is nice. But like I say, it's only going to be a one-track thing. I think it's a bit of a one-track pony maybe.
Maybe so, indeed, mate. Let's remind everybody at home, if we can, Daniel, of the upcoming races on a Thursday night as far as the Porsche Cup is concerned. We've got Chris Whittaker standing by for a chat to us very shortly. No doubt Matty Dent's not too far away. There we go, trucker. Next stop, Motorland Aragon. That will be interesting. Because we've seen some good one-make racing around there in the past. We've also seen some good multi racing around there in terms of something like a GT3 or TCR as well. So it's one of the newer circuits on the server. There's a few people still getting their head around it. There's a few people that won't turn up because they don't like it. Where do you sit with it?
There's about 475 different versions of the track, I think. There's a heap of different versions. I don't know which one they're planning on using, but the one that we used in the V's end of last season was a cracking track. So if we're at that place, it's that'll be a good version of the track, I think. And we're off to the mountain the week after. That one will be an interesting one.
It certainly will be. I actually missed that the next two, so I'm a little bit bummed about that. However, some great racing beyond that, the final 4 weeks that I look forward to sinking my teeth into with you blokes. And looking forward, actually, between time, catching up with you over in the West, my friends. Stay there with me. I want to get some thoughts from the two blokes that have jumped into the booth to have a chat here before I come back to you and get an update with regards to Mountain and Trucker. Let's start with CW, and we'll get to Dench in a moment. Finally, it seems as though you got your head around this bloody Porsche, mate. Nicely done tonight. Yep, sure, 8th in race 1, maybe not ideal, but you started third, finished third in race 2, and had to withstand some serious pressure to do it.
Yeah, it's good night at the office, mate. Certainly haven't got the pace of the boys around me, but that reverse grid certainly helped me out. So the 8th in race 1 I was actually pretty happy with, to be honest, after a couple of boo-boos there and a bit of damage at the start of the race with the incident in turn 3 or 4 or whatever. But that second race with Ben and Wayne, that was just that was off tap. That was fantastic. I mean, old Denchi and Pedersen may as well have their own, super duper elite or something like that category. I don't know.
Advanced,
yeah, exactly right. I mean, I think Denchi just went a second past to my optimal in that race, so there's a little bit of time to be found. But no, it's finally starting to click. I'm starting to save the tyre, but now I just have to work out how to save tyre and make it fast at the same time.
Indeed, and Detroit for a while, one of those circuits that you have a checkered sort of history with, mate. But in saying that, it was nice that you were able to withstand the pressure of the two men behind you. Were you a little bit worried when Benny found his way by, only to then plant the wall 50 metres later?
I'm very lucky there, mate. But just pinched a brake on the way into the right-hander there, and with the second that you pinch a brake, it's all over. It's not coming unlocked, or you're ending up. If it does unlock, you end up in the fence. So I was lucky not to hit anything to start with, and then we were having a bit of chat after the race, and that's like you said. He was cheering too much when I locked him up, but he forgot his brake marker and sent it into the wall himself. So that sort of obviously helped things out, but. the front left was a little bit how you're going at the end of the race, so it was basically just a matter of try square it up and drive it off the corner and hope one of these boys behind us didn't give us one up the date. But that was good. It was good, clean racing. Apparently Ben had a couple of accidental lobs with lockups and things that nearly centre popped me a couple of times. But yeah, mate, got to be a podium at the moment, a third, mate. That's as good as a bloody win to me.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you look at the calibre of the driver ahead of you as well, CW. Now, where was the other team in the stablemate, please?
Brendan's on his way to that progressive, civilised, bloody whatever you call it thing. He's off Hunter Valley, I think, for the weekend.
Nice.
Friend's 40th or something or other down there. So
lovely part of the world for yourself off Hunter Valley.
That's
where I'm broadcasting from at the moment.
There we go.
I won't get to see him because I'm off to Orange on Saturday morning.
There we
part
go.
of progressive civilisation, and yeah, looking forward to that immensely. Won't see Jared Knight in here for post-race chat, but we'll see him on Sunday in Orange, and looking forward to that. CW, the rest of the season, obviously, we'd love to see you back in Formula V. You missed out on the fun around Rudskogen Motorsenter tonight, but as far as the course is concerned, mate, if you keep chipping away at this, anything's possible. Motorland Aragon next week. You had an okay run there in the TCR.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool track. It was just that hairpin I didn't like. So it's going to be interesting in these. You know, it's a track that's got a couple of pretty critical braking points and acceleration points for that matter off the little chicane downhill there. It's sort of like the corkscrew, bit in reverse almost, didn't it? But obviously trying to get the power down these things, particularly on a cold tyre, can be a bit of a mesh. But just the brake locks into the back straight, assuming we're using the hairpin version. You'll see me bushfiring a couple of tyres, I'm sure. But no, the rest, I think it'll be a good combo. It should create some pretty good racing. I don't know where I'll be, but my target for the series is the top 10 for the season. So if we can keep plugging away with these 10s, mate, we should be sitting all right. And then see what happens next season. Hopefully, at least we've got decent numbers coming through consistently in the Porsches, which is good to see.
For sure. Just quickly before I finish with you, my friend, around the grounds. Cricket World Cup, haven't updated this for a little while. 32.3 overs gone. Bangladesh 4 for 158, batting first in their match against India. A little bit earlier tonight, the Melbourne Stars posted 8 for 165 in their match against the Sydney Sixers as the Women's Big Bash League got underway at the North Sydney Oval. The Sixers women in reply, struggling. 5 for 62 at the halfway mark. We'll keep you updated with that one before we get out of here. CW, when's the next shit out for you? I believe there's something coming up at the Paperclip.
Well, if you had asked me that last night, mate, it'd be a different story to right now. But the Shannon's HRCC was supposed to be next weekend, but that's been canned due to a lack of entries. So it's pretty disappointing. We're looking good to hopefully have the car all back together in time, but there's no bloody point now. This is no race, mate. But
exactly. But in saying that as well, can I make the point? I need to make the point. This is the same venue that this weekend is hosting a race meeting on Saturday for only 3 categories. What the bloody hell is going on up there, CW?
Oh, and you've got 160,000 bloody XLs, mate. You can't put them all in one race, can you? So
no.
You can't. You got to separate. You got to separate them, mate, so that everyone can have even naps throughout the day. But need time to go for a wee at some stage during the day, mate. So what better time than when the XLs are out? But now Formula 4's not around anymore, you know. So
listen. You will live to rue those comments next weekend because we are bringing the action in Western Australia, and we can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to getting the feedback from the XL Nationals in Perth. I've even convinced old mate Trucker Joe to come on and have a look at them, so that's going to be good fun.
You have to stick Joe on the mic as well, mate. See how he goes in the real world comms.
I think so. That's actually a good idea, CW. Why didn't I think of that? Now, with regards to everything else, mate, what else is keeping you busy? Obviously work, but we're not seeing as much on the sim racing circuit.
Yeah, no, it's just, mate, silly season started early this year, so work's just absolutely chaotic. But I actually nearly didn't make it tonight. I unfortunately had to put one of my dogs down earlier on today. But so that's a bit of this has made my day, to be perfectly honest, mate. The rest of it's been shit house, so
Yep.
I hope I can say shit house, but I just did anyway. I don't care, whatever.
Twice, I might add.
I said it
Twice. You said it twice.
A long time.
He doubled down on it.
Since I've sworn online. Come on.
Listen, it's 7 o'clock Western. I'll let it slide. Because we're in that PG-friendly time slot at the moment over there. Over here, in progressive civilization, unless it's Queensland, it's 10 o'clock, mate. So anything's a goer pretty much at this point. However, I will get you to put a lid on it for the moment. But condolences to you and the family. We know how much dogs are an essential part of the Australian family landscape. So not good news, and I say that knowing that we've got a dog out here that's a bit hit and miss at the moment and might not make it the end of the summer. We'll wait and see on that as well. So and my radio boss actually put one down recently too. So yeah, it's been a tough time for some dog owners that I know well and truly. Now work's chaotic, which is great. We've got no real world racing to look forward to, but obviously you'll keep persevering. Maybe having just the Porsche to focus on will help you long run, mate.
Yeah, possibly, mate. We actually had, HRCC got canned today, but we've had a final round of Prod Sports announced today as well. Also QR as part of some motorsport festival thing they're doing next month out there. So we've got a hell of a lot of laps. We've got quali, 2 sprint races and 4 sprint races and 2 45-minute enduros with compulsory stops. So that should be pretty cool. Fingers crossed we can both get the call up for another co-drive with Porsches and Genettas and all that sort of fun stuff. But if not, with any luck, mate, we can have a big Z car out there and hopefully finally have that opportunity to share a car in an enduro. That'll be pretty cool.
It would be indeed, although I wouldn't want to be at the Whittaker family Christmas dinner if anything was to go wrong on that occasion. Hey, great to catch up as always, mate. Well done. Stayed out of trouble, kept your nose clean, and brought it home in one piece. More than we can say for about half the field tonight. So well done on that. Great to see you on the podium, and look forward to seeing what you deliver over the next couple of weeks while I'm away, and we'll catch up in week 7.
No worries, boys. We'll see you then, and good work to Maddie and Ben up top.
And you might even get a couple of friendly jabs in next week at me while I'm in a different part of the world. However, I'll highlight at this point in time, as I've highlighted for the last 7 weeks, at least being over in Trucker Joe's part of the world, the time difference makes a lot more bloody sense. See you, CW. Thank you.
Adios, amigos.
Matt Dench and Adam Lavis are standing by. Joe Baldwin's still here as well. Denchy, welcome. Geez, you had your work cut out for you in race 1. Firstly, the Rd-4 own back really started in qualifying. You were only third past the post.
Yeah, the car felt pretty good on lap 3 in qualifying there, and I felt like we had quite a bit more on the table, and the very first corner we tried to push it a bit more. We just outbraked ourselves and locked it up, and that just killed the tyres for the rest of qualifying. So yeah, it made really interesting race 1 though, for sure.
Indeed. Now, as far as race 1 was concerned, what about the defence, the resistance from Andrew Smith and even Ben Pedersen as well? You had to work hard. You finally shrugged off Benny there late in the piece, but it was a bridge too far to get to Andrew Smith. He didn't put a foot wrong. Yeah,
trying to go around the outside, super difficult. If the guy on the inside gets it slightly wrong and you get a little nudge, you end up in that wall that can break the car pretty quickly. So every time I went outside, it was just cross everything you can and hope nothing happens.
Just goes to show how difficult this circuit is. Limited overtaking opportunities, but when the defence is there and you've got to try and go around the outside, you made it work once or twice, but you had 3 or 4 cracks at it.
Yeah, I think after a little while the tyres just getting too hot trying to brake really late, and it just makes it even harder to get the job done. So.
All right, let's talk about the second race. The seas parted quite nicely. How easily did you avoid the carnage happening in front of you?
The start was pretty interesting. The car ahead of me spun his wheel, so I went to the right of him, and then there was some more slow cars. I went to the left of them, and then someone spun, and I just snuck around. So it was just right place, right time, really, at the start.
Yeah. You zigged, you zagged. and it all worked out okay. Nicely done. Was there any incentive, any intention to sit there and follow Benny Pedersen through to the pit stops? Because by the end of lap 5, it looked as though if there was any intention that had gone to one side. It looked as though you were keen to get on with the job, race hard and race fair.
Yeah, I was looking at the field we needed to finish the race. I was thinking, maybe we just fuel save it and play safe. But when we got all those positions, first, like off the start there, I saw Benny just like go full send, trying to get by everyone. So it was just like, yeah, we'll just go full send and just try and stay with him. So.
And the full send ended up working to your advantage. Did you save any fuel along the way, or was there no point?
We saved a tiny bit, but then once we got past Ben, we just started to try and lay down heaters. So.
All right, very nicely done. Now, you've already admitted that you're not going to be here throughout the whole campaign, but at least you're making it count when you do show up, mate.
Yeah, it's always fun. Like I'm always down to jump in and have a steer on the good fun track. So not really sure about this next week, Argon. Never seen the track, so we might grab it and we'll play around. If it's good, we'll turn up.
All right, why not? Hey, also with regards to tonight, the tyre wear, we spoke to you on Monday night. You're very cool tyres down on the Ferrari and had a crack at ticking the purple sectors boxes on that last lap. Cemented the fastest lap of the night, rubbed salt in the wound, added insult to injury. You did exactly the same again tonight. Did you have to cool the tyres down though, or were you able to go full tilt?
In race 1, my front tyres were absolutely cooked with all that side by side and battling. My tyres in race 1 were absolutely shot, but race 2 they were pretty good, I would say, towards the end, considering we laid down the quickest lap.
Well, that's exactly right. Any tyre wear issues to speak of, or is that never an issue on a sprint race?
It just depends how much battling you do. Like I said, just in race 1 where we were fighting non-stop, it was just absolutely killing the front tyres for me.
All right, interesting. And I mean, what about the extra pressure from guys like, more so in race 1 than race 2. Race 2 you had it pretty much to your own, but do you feel as though the pack is slowly but surely getting a little bit closer to you, particularly in those instances like race 1 where it's short, sharp and sweet and everyone's going full tilt?
Yeah, I think a track like this sort of brings the field together a little bit. If I'm not starting out front, then it's super hard to get by. So you start battling, and then it brings a few more cars into play, and then it's this really good fun race where the P1 and 2 will go side by side, and P3 will stick a nose in and have a little play as well. So.
All right, very nicely done. Daniel, any questions to throw at the great man while we've got him?
No questions at all. Look, just want to congratulate you on another good result. And what's your take on Ben Pedersen's interesting tactic here? He was extending track limits by just grinding away the walls each lap. Is that what's your take on that?
I tried that in practice, and I grazed the wall in 2 places, and I bent the steering both times, so I was trying to stay off those walls.
Yeah, his livery gets away with the streak marks, the scratch marks, more than yours does as well. So, but it was a very clean race from you. I just thought, just watching Ben Pedersen lap after lap, I'm just going he's actually clipping the wall every single lap and not crashing. Right there. It's just every single lap. He's just touching that wall. Some other people did the same, and they ended up pinballing across the track. So, something to it.
Well, to be fast here, you need to be right on the limit, and Ben's definitely putting it right there.
Exactly. All right, Denchik, very nicely done. Congratulations again. Great to see you in full flight at the top of the charts. And obviously Andrew Smith's misfortune there in the early stages of race 2 ended up being to your benefit and to your advantage, because you came through and took round honours rather comfortably in the end. Well done, mate. We'll catch up with you on Monday.
Yeah, we'll see everyone then.
Actually, before you go, did you turn up for GT4 last night, or did you fall asleep in the cockpit again?
Yeah, I turned up. I turned up in
good.
the McLaren, and it feels 10 times better than the Mercedes. So we took the W. It was good.
All right, very nicely done. Half point win still feels better than driving the Merc. Very interesting observation from M. Dench. Very good. No, I must admit, I was tied up with family engagements, and I was out with Dad and a couple of his mates last night, so I didn't actually see the broadcast, so I thought I'd better ask the question while you're here. Go well, mate. Thanks.
Okay, see you.
Adam Lavis, I know you're crunching points, but I'd love to have a chat to you because from what I can see on the leaderboard here, you picked up a double W in the Porsche Open split tonight, mate. So well done on that. And also 3 top 5 finishes in Formula V. Ticked all 5 boxes tonight, mate. You finished every race. Well done.
I usually finish most races, just when they have an incident during the race. I mean, tonight was the pole opposite. I definitely had no pace for you, but I just kept my nose clean and just ended up I think it was like 5th or 6th overall in the first race for a while until the guys started catching me. So yeah, it was just a matter of just avoiding incidents and made that one little lock-up boo-boo in the second race because I had plenty of margin, but then had Brabby behind me and he had some good pace, similar pace to me. I wouldn't say it's good, but similar pace to me. So he was just putting a little bit of pressure on, but I managed to just keep him a second back. And it was all going well, but then then after the pit stops, I noticed that the Joe, who did have pace, was finally starting to close the gap. And I was like, well, I'm glad there's only 3 laps left because that gap is coming down. So I managed to get the 2 wins. Good for the championship.
Very good for the championship, mate. And you're still there or thereabouts in Formula V as well, but the competition is fierce. I mean, both Johnny Merritt when he turns up, but more to the point, Chris Noble and Sam Chapman are here every week, and they're right on the money at the moment. You were just a stone's throw away from being with them tonight.
Yeah, I probably had, with the Vs, I probably had about 90% of the lap to a similar pace to the other guys, but I think it was like that the bottom hairpin, I couldn't quite get that right because I seemed to keep losing time there. And that was sort of my weak spot, I think, and it just cost me lap time. But the rest of the lap, I was sort of very similar. Once I worked out turn 1 and 2, the rest of it was all right. I just couldn't get the car to rotate nicely to get the power onto that hairpin because everyone seemed to have no issues there. So, but other than that, it was just a matter of just trying to stay in the toe and put your car in the right position at the right time to keep the pace.
I just want to jump in here and address the news of the day. There was a fair bit of hoo-ha this morning on social media about the Newcastle 500 being called off for next year for the supercars. I happen to be in the Newcastle area at the moment. The Newcastle News Bulletin tonight, NBN News, or Channel 9 affiliate in these parts, as Adam would know because they're an affiliate up in his part of the world as well, this side of progressive civilization. The Mayor of Cessnock has said that we would welcome hosting supercars in this part of the world. Pull the other one. It plays Jingle Bells. I mean, the roads, you have not got a hope in hell of doing it around here without about 5 years of roadworks to bring it up to world standards for starters. And even then, I don't know exactly where they would accommodate all the people. I mean, obviously we've got accommodation out in the vineyard and we've got wineries and whatnot as well. But where is it spectator friendly? I think it's just a bridge too far. And I don't say that with any disrespect to Jay. I've got to interview him on the grid of the postie bike form for in a couple of weeks. Even Newcastle was a stretch, but at least they had adequate infrastructure down that part of the world, streets, etc. and so forth. I don't think you would, I put it this way, I think you would get the same sort of pushback from the residents of the city as they're currently getting. Cessnock City Council on trying to extend the main road to 4 lanes. It's just not going to happen. Pigs will fly before it happens. I might get late. But it's not happening. Trust me.
How about
far-fetched. It's as far-fetched as anyone has ever been in Cessnock, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry, Daniel.
No, that just reminds me of Sydney wanted to put in a bid for a Formula One race. And
Yeah,
they
well-
were like, "Oh, we'll set up a track within the city, and then we can incorporate the Harbour Bridge." And I was like, "You're kidding, right?" In the city, Homebush is one thing because it's new, like it's relatively new, and everything's flat. But the city, no, it's just not happening.
No, not at all. Like, as I'm going through it in my head, I've got no idea what they would come up with, where they'd put it. They'd probably say, "Oh, we can run it on the same track that they run the postie bike on." No. Get out of sync. All right. On that note, Adam, well done. Obviously, you're back in the booth with me on Monday night. Looking forward to that. Next stop for the V's is Barber, and then we go to Aragon for the Porsches. So, 2 interesting racetracks next week for you to try and conquer.
Yeah, Barber in the V's is always fun. Especially everyone, lots of spins at turn 1 over that crest because these are already flighty on the rear tyres, especially when the tyres are cold. And you had a bit of a crest in your turning point. It's going to spice it up for a couple of the guys to get caught out. And then you got the blind chicanes at the back, so that's always people grass cutting and doing all sorts of fun stuff. And then if you're not careful, you can scare. If you get someone treated, you can scare them with the spider statues. It's always fun when you're broadcasting. But yeah, the Aragon. I've really enjoyed having Aragon on the surface. It's a great track. It's just the only thing. We just hope that some people more people give it a chance, because this is the interesting. So I actually compared Aragon to Barber in the fact that it's one of those really good tracks, but because it hasn't been used a lot in the officials, not everyone has it. So we keep getting smaller fields at those tracks, even though they're really good to race on. So hopefully pick a few more of the club members, give them a chance, because they're both really good racing tracks.
And from someone who's done a lot of racing with the guys and been around a while, Barber Motorsports Park is one of the just unseen gems of the service. It always puts on great racing every time we go there. And Aragon is going to end up with the same reputation. I don't think we've had a bad race there yet, have we?
No, not yet.
Even with like the small, like there was, I think one of the first races we only had like 10 cars there, was a little bit meh, but even then there was still good battles in that group. But yeah, it's just a matter of just trying to get more bums on seats and tyres on track, and it'll definitely produce some great racing. Because it's basically Spain's attempt at a Bathurst with all the undulation, and sort of like it's a more fast flowing Laguna Seca. Because it's got its own corkscrew, but it's a bit more open, and you get to open the taps a bit more, go a bit more full throttle down that big back straight.
All right, gentlemen, very nicely done. Trucker, what's next as far as Mountain Men's concerned, please? It'll be this Saturday night.
This Saturday night, look, I always get a ribbing. Reckon I do 100 laps before we go to the mountain on a Saturday night, which I don't. I literally do 5 laps, set the fuel limits, and find a setup that's drivable. I might have done 7 laps the other day because I can't find a setup that's drivable with the monster this Saturday night. Yep. We've got the Arca Chevy. The thing has got no brakes, it doesn't turn, and the thing does 315 kilometres an hour down the mountain, and you get down to the chase with no brakes. So it's going to be a hell of a night on the mountain.
Indeed.
This Saturday night. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Always is, but particularly when you combine a car that doesn't handle being at top speed and being asked to pull up with a circuit where concrete is left, right and centre, just waiting for you to slam into it.
The thing drives like a
disaster.
tricycle. Yeah, it drives like a tricycle with 3 flat tyres. Let's be honest, it's terrible, but it's a hell of a lot of fun.
And that's the main thing.
Yeah, but damn fun in a straight line.
You're not wrong there. In a straight line, 100%. I realised earlier today, I was like, I might check out this Arca car, because I don't think I've driven it in a while. Turns out I've never driven it, period, because I didn't own it. So I was like, all right, I'll buy it, get ready for the Mountain Man on Saturday. Just decided to load up, jump into the track, did 1 lap, and was just like, there are not enough prayers in the world to get me around this track.
No.
It's just, it's going to be pain all the way, but
Gonna need refreshments. Gonna need refreshments. Gonna need to good fluid intake to get that thing across the mountain. So
I've got a beer
certainly looking
ready to go.
forward to that. It's going to be a real handful and a lot of fun.
Hey, on the subject of good fluids and good refreshments, ladies and gentlemen, the family started buying these big, gigantic, bloody 2-litre drink bottles. I think you get them from Big W. And they hold 6.4 ounces. That's American, of course, or what we would refer to as 2,000 ml 2 litres. And or 64 ounces rather. I'm looking for a point, and it's not a point there. 64 ounces or 2 litres, and it's got the metric and the imperial measurements on it. And I was going through the motions earlier. They recommend this thing called water, and I don't drink enough of that apparently. But tonight I've got the lime mixed up cordial in there that I normally sit on during the GSRC broadcast. But going by the calculations at Christmas time, it'll fit 5 cans of Canadian Club and dry. So that'll be very nice to sit on Christmas Day. That's it from us. We're just about done. Hey, Trucker, great to catch up with you, mate. I am waiting for an on-track race schedule to be sent my way for next weekend, and as soon as I've got that, I'll be forwarding it on to you. I'm looking forward to catching up with you at Barbagallo. But before that, I'll catch up with you on Monday night. Adam Lavis, well done again. Just whilst Adam's there crunching the numbers, I'm going to just open up the server here and see if he's managed to put the results from tonight in. Yes, he has. Matt Dench, 197 leads. Ben Pedersen, 141, 121 for Chris Whittaker. 159 for Anthony Adsaid, 102 for Dane Snadden, 154 for Jake Jackson, 144 for Paul Wilson. The orders are a little bit jumbled at the moment, folks, but you get the idea. 131 for Nick Wood, 127 for Brendan Whittaker, and 113 for Sam Muir. No one else in triple digits at the moment, and Dench is still a clear leader. And judging by the points I'm seeing there, Anthony Adsaid's now second in the championship on 159 points, 5 clear of Jake Jackson.
And don't forget Mr. Wrath.
Oh, that's right. And Adam's still to calculate the round points as far as the open split is concerned, probably because we held him up to have a chat. So we'll update you on that first up here, same time, same place next week. Going around the ground, 22 balls left in the match between the Melbourne Stars and the Sydney Sixers at the North Sydney Oval. The Sixers require 29 runs off those 22 balls. They've got 4 wickets in hand at 6 for 137. The target is 166. For World Cup, Bangladesh 5 for 181, 37.4 overs. India will chase whatever they are set by whatever Bangladesh set, and you can watch that one on Fox Sports. And that's it. We do this with thanks to Waste Options, Orbit Australia Login Systems, Player One, Singear, Loadsy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics as per usual. Whereas lost Trucker, he's gone down to race control. We'll say goodbye to him. We look forward to seeing him on Monday. There's the schedule. There's the suite of events that we've got coming our way. The Delaras around the IR cars around Las Vegas Motor Speedway tomorrow night, 125 laps around there. That'll be well worth the price of admission. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, we get to the Mount Panorama Circuit on Saturday night from Mountain Men. The ARCA cars, as Joe and Daniel have already been detailing. On Monday night, Adam Lavis and I are back with you. We're off to Road America for a double header, and I'm just looking at that now thinking, Hogan's Ghost is going to be a late night because we've got 25 minutes first up for GT, for the Super 2 and Super 3 series. That's standard procedure, but then 90 minutes for GT3. We will be showcasing the AM split on that occasion. And 90 minutes. So last week's post-race show was bloody long. If it's that long this week, we could be here till midnight. But yes, race start 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time, and we will be getting the checkered flag somewhere around that 10:15 marker. So stick with us because it'll be about an 11 o'clock finish on Monday night, and 48 hours later I'll be on the other side of the country. So it's a big week next week. Tuesday night, the up-and-comers in the Toyotas, if you don't mind, at the Willow Springs circuit, followed by the Civil War, the GT1s from Summit Point. Couldn't think of a worse circuit, but anyway, that'll be good fun, rather than me. Wednesday night, the boys are with you on broadcast from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time for the Downforce Legends from the Circuit Park Zolder circuit. That will get things underway at 7:45 2 races there, followed by the Willow Springs round. That'll be good. Willow Springs for the Orbit Australia GT4 series, and that will be a super sprint format. Round 2 races on the agenda from 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thursday night, while I'm in Perth, I'm not sure who's filling in for me, but appreciate it in advance, boys. Thank you. That will now become not Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, it'll become Barber Motorsport Park. First up, 3 races there for Formula V. Then onto the Motorland Aragon Circuit for the Porsche Cup Series. And we're looking forward to all that and more on the platforms of the Sim Racing Club. Magnificent. GSRC merch.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com for all your merch. As far as the GSRC is concerned, your club merch needs and wants. And of course, race.tgsrci.com for all the other club relevant information. I hope you've enjoyed it. On the platforms of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Thursday night motorsport done and dusted. My voice is starting to go a little bit croaky already. I blame Formula V for that. That's brilliant from Rudskogen tonight. The Porsche's good in the opening race as well from the circuit that we're viewing on our screen here at the moment. The Detroit Grand Prix at Belle course in downtown Michigan. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage. We'll make Thursday deliveries again. 5 races, 3 different race winners. A clean sweep for John Merritt in the Formula V's, a clean sweep for Adam Lavis in the Porsche Open Cup. The elite split down the middle between Andrew Smith and Matthew Dench, but Dench takes round honours. We look forward to doing it all again Monday night for the next round of the championship. Don't forget, next week we're on air Monday, we're on air Wednesday, we're on air Thursday. The week after, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, because we're now just 2 weeks and a little bit more away from the next round of the GSRC GT3 and Hypercar Endurance Championship as well. More on that when we rejoin you on Monday night, when we reconvene after a big weekend. Good luck to everybody competing in real-world motorsport events this weekend. Good luck to our club members competing in virtual online events beyond the club over the course of the weekend as well. Plenty to stick your teeth into as far as real-world sport is concerned. Rugby World Cup, Cricket World Cup, a Women's Big Bash League, the Caulfield Cup, and also the United States Formula 1 Grand Prix and the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix from the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Victoria. So no shortage of sport to sink your teeth into, no excuse not to be tuning into at least part of it along the way. That reminds me, better go and set the time of recording for tomorrow morning for MotoGP for practice in Phillip Island. On behalf of Daniel Carrier, the rest of the broadcast coming from the production team here on the platforms of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. A slightly earlier finish tonight. We're hitting about 11 o'clock on Monday night. We're out a little bit earlier tonight. We look forward to your company for week 5, turn 4, when it gets underway. 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time on Monday night. Night 4 of week 4 of term 4, season 15 on the platforms of Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Done and dusted. We hope you've enjoyed the ride as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you and going on the ride with you. In fact, I might add, certainly a little bit of great degree of fun tonight. I'm Zach Capen. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Monday. Bye.